Tonight on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. For the first time this season, we return from an off week to make our lone trip to the Lone Star State for the fourth race on the 2017 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing, and it all starts next. The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing, is the premier NASCAR esports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a three-time NASCAR World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign, and as it has been for the 7 years prior, it is no longer going to be a straight shot to the championship. We are going to see the biggest change in this championship picture in series history, as for the first time ever, there will be a chase for the championship. We're going to go into the Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season with the four best oval sim racing drivers in the world absolutely tied in the championship. You just got to beat the other three guys out and you will become an official NASCAR champion. You're going to get yourself a NASCAR championship ring and, of course, $10,000. These are the iRacing Esport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. You can catch it all season long, live coverage on iRacing.com/live. The road to $10,000 runs through 3545 Lone Star Circle in Fort Worth, Texas. Happy to say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the 2017 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing, for round number 4 on the calendar. Tonight's Texas 250. Happy to be with you tonight and our partners, not only at iRacingLive, but of course Fans Choice TV and the Motor Racing Network. Myself, Evan Pasoko, going to be topside tonight alongside Cam Walsh and Andy Kessler, and as always, our director Hugo Louise pushing the buttons and bringing us to you this evening. Cam, back from our first off week of the season into round number 4 tonight from Texas. Tonight, the second intermediate 1.5 mile we're seeing on this season.
Hello, everybody, and yes, absolutely, and it's not just here at Texas with our first 1.5 miles. It is the first 1.5 miles, really the first race that we are going to see on the brand new 2017 package. Already, I am seeing cars absolutely dancing on the Razor's Edge. These things are going to be loose. They are going to be fast, and it is going to be a very exciting Texas Motor Speedway race here tonight.
Outside of Daytona, where Derek Bordeaux got the win, it has been all Ryan Luza. Las Vegas and Fontana, Andy, back-to-back trips to victory lane. So far, 3 races, and they have all been won by rookie drivers. So the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series transferees from 2016 looking to get going.
Yeah, you're exactly right, guys. I mean, you look back even to last year, PJ Sturgis picking up his first win of the season, came right here at Texas Motor Speedway. So that really propelled him into his championship hunt and fight all the way through to the end of the season. So we'll see exactly what will happen here tonight. And with the new build, like Cam mentioned, it's going to be interesting to see who's picked up on making these setups here early on. And we'll see if anyone has an advantage here tonight.
We've got plenty of time throughout the 250 miles on tap tonight to talk about tonight's race from Texas. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a look back at round number 3 from Fontana in this week's iRacing Race Recap.
The pace car is going to look to the safety of pit road for the first time. No hesitation out of the one. Ryan Luza will take the green flag, and we're underway at Auto Club.
Already a good start from Ryan Michael Luza. He's drifts all the way up to the outside, and we'll see, does he cut down on the inside? Yes, he's trying to use that space that he has to his advantage. Now, everyone is already feathering the throttle, and this is on brand spanking new Goodyear Eagles. Can only imagine what's going to happen once these tires start wearing in.
Yeah, falling back a little bit here in the early stages of this one. We got one on the apron, down the back straightaway, 39 back up into the racetrack, and that will be the first caution flag of the evening.
And it comes off of turn number 2, the 39 of Michael Johnson. It looks like all by himself, a self-spin, tried to gather it in, get back up the racetrack, and that's the scary part for everybody. But man, what a great job by the field getting around him right there. Locks him up, everybody able to skate around. Pit road going to be a busy place, just 10 laps into it, but I don't expect any crazy changes here on this one as far as a 2-tire stop or anything. Tires are very precious commodity here, Tim, at Auto Club Speedway.
And it's a drag race off pit road between Novak and it looks like Corey Vincent in the 10.
And Novak going to stack them up just a little bit. Gives it a little bit of gas. He'll clear the top spot now. It'll be a side-by-side battle at the line here from the 10 and the 1 of Ryan Luza now on the inside. Here's Luza, drops down not quite all the way. He'll keep that 15 car up to the top. Give Novak another lap led, but the advantage soon to be Ryan Luza's as they head back to turn 1.
And it's easy done when he lets off the brake first, allows his car to roll into that deeper inside groove, which seems to be working much better on these brand spanking new Goodyear Eagles.
Clampett has caught Ryan Luza over the last couple of laps here, Tim. He's really closing in, trying to get this lead before pit stops.
Yeah, Luza lost a lot of time in corner number 1. Clampett got a really nice entry into corner number 1 and was able to make the time up off corner number 2. And looks like they were even through corner number 4, but now here comes the 44 to the inside. Logan Clampett trying to take the lead away from Luza. He will do so at the line. And
the battle for leads continues to heat up, though. Unable to find the way around him right now is the 1 of Ryan Luza. Do you think he's just riding right there, trying to spot where he's going to make this pass, or do you think he's conserving tires? Well, forget about it. Here he goes, Tim, into turn number 3 to the inside, looking for the race lead off turn 4.
Yeah, he set it up nicely off corner number 4, and now he'll be side by side with Zielinski as they come out of corner number 4. The 83 will have the run on the outside. Luza will continue to work on the inside, and it looked like he had the momentum to make it work down into corner number 3, but he'll try it again down into corner number 1, try to drive it in deep. Will Ryan Luza? The 83 continues on the outside, not giving him a whole lot of room on that inside line to work as they go side by side. Michael Conti trying to reel them in from behind, but Luza got an excellent corner exit at a corner number 2. He should be able to drive it in here, and if he can drive it in deep enough, he should come out with the lead.
He'll take the position now off turn number 4, slide up right in front of the 83 of Bobby Zielinski. Kenny Humpy, what a fantastic run for him this early in the season. Kenny Humpy trying to get the job done here late in the going to get that top 3 before this thing's over. He's trying to do it, but Schauner says, nope, I want that 4th spot right now as he looks to the inside off of turn number 2. And don't look now because that 2 of Ray Alfala is actually pulling away from those guys. And caution's out here.
28 cars on its roof. Car of Casey Tucker and Josh Berry were involved in that one. And it looks to me like Casey Tucker just started riding right up the track. I think that car got far too tight, drove it in way too deep.
If we go green and we get maybe a half lap in and then the caution flies, you don't really have a whole lot of time to make up any ground. It's a difficult decision. If I'm up front and I'm trying to win a race, I'm staying out and hoping maybe a quick caution comes out. Ryan Luza comes by pit road this time. He's definitely staying out on the racetrack. Couple of fakes thrown behind him. Logan Clampett. Michael Conti is coming into pit road.
A stack up of the field for the 1 of Ryan Luza. He hits the gas pedal. He's off and away. It stacks everybody up about 6th, 7th on back. He gets about a 2-car length gap now as they head back into turn 1.
If Luza can hit his marks, he'll likely come home with a 2nd straight victory in this series, but the battle is for 2nd and 3rd on back. Humpy to the inside of Chalner. Here comes the 83 of Zielinski looking to make something happen. Your top 2 have got away from the rest of the field. They drag race side by side down the back straightaway. Zielinski trying to make something happen. Caution flag flies.
problems in the back off of turn number 2. Exactly what we thought about. Some 5-wide action with guys like Michael Conti trying to make your way up through the field. Just ran out of real estate for all those drivers. Caution, white flag will show this time as well for the driver of the number 1 of Ryan Luzo. One more time around this racetrack to pick up his second career victory and his second win in as many weeks.
And welcome back to the Texas Motor Speedway as we get set to get round number 4 of this 2017 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series back underway. Warm-up session has now come to a close. Cars are on track. So with that, we take a look at tonight's RaceSpotTV starting grid. We'll start it at the top. Michael Conti's number 5 Peak Chevrolet on pole with the 26.790, joined on the front row by the 44 of Logan Clampett. Behind them, best of the warm-up, Nick Ottinger will start 3rd, Cody Bias in 4th position, Alan Bowes and Brad Davies 5th and 6th, Ray Alfalla in 7th, Derek Bordeaux in 8th with Corey Vincent, Ryan Luzo, your top 10.
Kenny Humpy starting on the inside, position number 11. Chris Overland will be starting in 12th position. Bobby Zelensky in 13th. Brandon Schmidt 14th. Dylan Duvall starting in 15th position. Philip Diaz in 16th. Blake Reynolds 17th. David Rantler is going to be 18th. Zach Novak in 19th. And Mitchell Hunt rounds out your top 20.
21st tonight, Andrew Fayesh. Christian Schellner will start 22nd, 23rd to Will Cooley. Joel Letterello, Marcus Richardson, your top 25. Then you got Chandler Krizik, Michael Johnson, Brian Schoenberg, Chris Shearburn, and Jimmy Mullis to round out your top 30.
31st through 36 still on times. Casey Tucker, Nicholas Johnson, Adam Gilliland, Nolan Scott, Timmy Hill, and Josh Berry. 37th on the back. No qualifying times tonight. That includes PJ Sturgis, Matt Bosa, Jake Sturgis, Byron Daly, Ryan Lowe, Brian Blackford, and Tyler Hill. PaceCarGetter.com for the way this time through, and as always, we're so happy that you're with us tonight on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. Feel good to be in the hands of that number 5 Peak Chevrolet of Michael Conti as the iRacing.com official pace car gets out of the way. The 5 gets on the gas. American Ethanol green flag, and we are underway from Texas. Off to quarter number 1 for the first time, up through the gears, single filing out inside of the top 5 behind the 5.
Very quickly, everybody moving into a single file, just trying to get into a line, trying to get their way going through. And already one car is turned around. The yellow is going to be out before we even get the first lap down. That was the blue car of the 94 of Philip Diaz right in the middle of your field.
Diaz involved, a couple of other drivers turned around. The 57 involved, looks like the 90 has damaged the 34, the 78, the 41, just to name a few. We take a second look at just a moment on a RaceSpotTV replay. It all started coming out of quarter number 2. They were single file inside of the top 5. Behind, though, was a different story. Philip Diaz was running in 16th spot, and I think he had some help on the back bumper there, Andy, courtesy of the 09 Ford to David Rattler. If he did get him, it was the slightest of contact, but he might have just got up on that bumper, and the 94 got out of shape, snapped down, and actually bounced off the drivers on the inside line, came back up over the nose of the 09, blocked the track, and a whole bunch of people tried to scatter from there and got involved in secondary incidents.
Yeah, it's all the secondary ones you don't want to see. I mean, guys like PJ Sturgis, we talked about him picking up the victory here last season, which really jump-started his run for the championship. But here tonight, qualifying effort, 37th, didn't even take a time. It's not going to be what that 57 needed to start off this week here at Texas Motor Speedway for a lot of those guys either as well, too. Some damage on those race cars. It's just not going to be the same. It's going to make for a long race here to the end.
And some fairly big names involved in this one to cam off for the first lap. If there's ever problems on a restart, it's always the most crucial point because everybody stacked up really on top of each other. And despite the fact that I think if that happened on the green flag stretch, could have got away with maybe 1 or 2 cars involved. When you have everybody tightly packed together there was really just nothing a lot of those guys could do.
No, and it was in the worst place possible, right in mid-pack, coming out of a corner exit. That was not exactly what you want to see at the start of a race. Schoenberg also involved, Gillen, Chalnier, Scott, Shearburn, Busa, Reynolds a little bit. Sturgis was involved, but only by a little bit. He actually managed to get out of that one by the skin of his teeth. Matt Busa just clipped the rear wing, which sent him into a spin, which he was managed to actually save. So he's got a little bit of rear damage, PJ Sturgis does, but that number 57 car actually not that worse for wear. He's fairly lucky out of that one.
Drivers still trickling down pit road trying to get those cars repaired that did get damaged. Matt Busa on the pit lane right now, so was Nolan Scott, Adam Gilliland, Brian Schoenberg, Challenger. So all of the suspects, Rattler, Diaz, the cars involved in that one, down pit road trying to get damaged. Casey Tucker now just off of the pit lane, trying to come down pit road to get damage every single opportunity, but also making sure that they get out of their box and off of the pit lane before the pace car comes by and laps them. So they're going to try to catch back up to the field because that time by lights on top of the iRacing.com official pace car have gone out. So we will try it again. Going to be green the next time around. We will complete 4 laps. By the time we get to this restart, no change on the front row. Conti Clampett 1-2 was a small change behind them. Cody Bias, who started 4th, is going to be 3rd for this restart, and Gottinger, who was 3rd, will fall to 4th. They'll just swap out which side of row number 2 they will be on each.
Yeah, it's time for these guys. Settle down is what they need to do right now. A very treacherous racetrack can get very slick at times, especially off of turn number 2. We saw that. It doesn't take much. These cars are already running on the ragged edge, Evan, and just the slightest of touches like we saw from David Rattler, and that's all it's going to take. So really the first couple laps out of a restart, it's your best opportunity to get positions, but at the same time, you got to be pretty careful as well.
The pace car going to tuck off and away here. Restart coming up with 39 cars still being scored on the lead lap. Going to be Conti Clampett, road number 1. Absolutely no hesitation from the 5. Green flag flies. Back at it we go. And he will leave a battle for second behind him. Cody Bias on the charge. Went 4th to 3rd the first time. He will go 3rd to 2nd this time. Bias with the move of the 44.
Logan Clampett just safely cycling back because they're going to go 3 wide, going down the back stretch for position number 4. Nick Ottinger finding himself, cars on the outside, cars on the inside. Alan Bose, though, hustling back just a little bit, allowing that car to go through. Nick Ottinger getting the best run out of the 3 rail. Falla was the one on the top side. They finally make one completely clean green lap. They work their way through. I think a lot of people are trying to work their way in a single file, but there are still some fighting going on. I see right in the back for position 20s, there's a good group going on. They are trying to hustle single file.
And as the top 6 or 7 or so get single file, still some fight inside of the top 10. The 04 machine at Eric Bordeaux, winner from earlier on in the season. He's stuck way up on the outside of the racetrack at a quarter 4, and it's kind of a freight train moving on the inside of him. Brad Davies took a spot away that time by in the 11. There's that one of Ryan Luza, who started tonight in the 10th position, looking to go 3 in a row so far this season. He's also going to complete a move at 04. Looks like Bordeaux going to battle back topside, but Luza should have the advantage inside in 3 and 4. And that one Ford looks like he's going to be able to get clear. He does, as the 04 bobbles up the hill a little bit. So Luza also going to take a position away. The 04 of Bordeaux continues to slide down to now 9th position and doesn't look like anybody inside lane really hoping to let up anytime soon.
No, they're not. And as that all was happening there, just behind or just in front of these guys for the lead, Cody Bias and the 44 Logan Clampett were able to get around Michael Conti. Now we're going to see another switch for the lead into turn number 3 is where it started. Put Logan Clampett now top spot off of turn number 4. He's going to get his first lap led here on lap number 8.
And it didn't look like a good restart for Clampett. Really didn't get going. Fell to 3rd with a 27. Cody Bias taking away 2nd spot from him. And now Logan Clampett through the race lead at lap number 9. So they've kind of switched up the running order. Instead of Conti, Bias, Clampett like it was off the restart, now it's Clampett, Bias, and Conti. The Define machine dropping those 2 positions early on, and still battling back at that 9th spot is the 04 Derek Bordeaux. This time he's on the inside of Corey Vincent, and looks like he'll be able to get back to P9, find a spot single file in line, and just try to hold his own for a little bit here as these guys try to work themselves into a green flag stretch. Working lap number 10 down the back straightaway, 44, trying to pull a little bit up front.
Yeah, and the number 21, Alan Bowes, he's slid, I guess I should say, past Nick Ottinger going into one. I think we're going to see that a lot, just watching how these guys are looking as they enter corner number 1. People really drag the noses to the inside line really late on off of the accelerator or on the brake. They're tapping it if they need to, as they just roll right through to the inside and let the car kind of come up. The car that they are passing has to let off even more so, which allows them to get right on through. So I wouldn't be too surprised with this aero kit we're seeing that. As here goes Alan Bowes on the inside of Michael Conti, doing exactly what I was trying to point out. He runs to the inside, runs it deep to the inside. He has to slow up a little bit. Conti has to slow it down, which will pull in Nick Ottinger. But you can see just at least with the tires as they stand on a newer run, how these guys are able to get past each other. Meanwhile, Logan Clampett, he seems to be trying to check out. He's got quite a gap already over Cody Bias. He's got a gap over Alan Bowes.
And up front, there is that little bit of spacing. None of that exists around P10. In fact, battle for position for 9th going to be up for grabs. It was Derek Bordeaux who just made a move on the inside of Vincent. Now Vincent going to try to make a move on the inside of him and his Herculiner Chevrolet. It's not going to work. Inside is slow, and Bordeaux rockets at a corner number 2. He'll take 8th away from a slow Ryan Luza, who's under attack now by the 10. So very racy so far, and now that 04, who was falling back topside handy, is on the offensive up there. He passes Ray Alfalla this lap as well, +2 on lap number 13.
Yeah, that was a huge run. He got on using that high line. He's really the only driver so far, at least up towards the front of the field, that's been able to utilize that high side here. And it's going to be a little while before the rubber builds up, but you can see the run he gets right there off of turn number 2. He's going to pull up to the outside now with the 11 of Brad Davies, who, by the way, a great qualifying effort for that driver. Starting 6th tonight, currently in that 6th spot, but about to lose it now as here comes Bordeaux to the outside. You got the 05 just ahead of him. Nick Ottinger blocking away now into 1.
He sets a 2x2 in the set over the quarter, and that 04, he's going way up the hill. But he goes to the top side, a huge slot at a corner number 2. What a save by Derek Bordeaux. And that 11 of Brad Davies was more or less on his door. That could have got ugly quick, but the 04 gains control and puts the foot back on the gas, now trying to hold off the 2 of Ray Alfalla as this battle continues. How about some 3 wide maybe after quarter 1 as the 04 pushing that way outside line once again.
That was an absolute manhandling of that 04 Ford Fusion as he managed to wheel that around Derek Bordeaux. Very good seeing as they're still battling up front. That lead that Clampett has is all but evaporated as Cody Bias has managed to reel him in. And here comes Alan Bowes. Alan Bowes, he has had a very good run this restart. He has just been working his way through the field. He's looking potentially to the inside. No, everyone's going to go 1, 2, 3 using all 3 different lines of Texas Motor Speedway. They're going to cycle obviously to the inside. Look at the throttling they can actually pull on Cody Bias and Alan Bowes as they roll on through. As right now Logan Clampett, he's just trying to work through it. And here comes Alan Bowes. Just as we were pointing out, he's been really wheeling through this field. And I think he's got, at the very least, he's got a great set at the start of these races. Let's see how they do when these tires start wearing out.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen on the long run because these guys are going at it early. Back to the inside goes Cody Bias, side by side for the race lead. Lap 18, Clampett top side, successfully holds him off to 27. No speed down the back, and here comes Bowes. Cross to the inside down the back, almost clearing 3 and 4. Can he get it off for the corner? Yes, sir. Alan Bowes up to P2. And these guys in 2nd and 3rd have been fighting back and forth, swapping out 2nd and 3rd now twice in the last 4 times around the Texas Motor Speedway, but all of which has been involving Logan Clampett. That 44, very much a part of this battle, as now the 21 sets his sights on him again. Big run at a quarter number 2. He'll dive to the inside again.
Yeah, looking for that race lead. I'm watching all these guys behind. Everybody at the start of the race was on that white line through the corners. Now you're seeing everybody fighting for that top side now, because look at the 04, Derek Bordeaux and teammate Ryan Luza now utilizing that outside lane to come all the way from that top 10 area and now find themselves inside the top 5 and looking for more as they start to close the gap on the top 3 runners right now. As Clampett continues to lead, but not without pressure. Here comes Bose now to the inside in turn 3.
And with that 44 wanting to take that upper lane, he kind of keeps those right side tires on that seam in the setup of the quarter. He can leave the inside open for Alan Bose, so he really doesn't have to run a defensive line. If he had to protect the bottom, he'd be going low down the back and low on the front straightaway and driving that car a little bit harder to keep that preferred lane to himself. But the inside's easy to get to. It's very difficult to get to somebody's top, and at 44 rides the fence in the corner, tries to protect the outside. You see the 21 looking for it. He's got a nose there. What a move by Alan Bose to the outside of the racetrack. He'll get the run out of quarter 4. Drag race to the start-finish line. Would have been a great finish if that was lap 167. Dead even that time by to the 1/10,000th of a second. But I think now that Bose has the outside, he might have an advantage.
He seems to be working lap after lap right now. This is a great battle. Clampett slots in. He's lost the lead. And here comes a familiar name, Ryan Michaeluza, the number 1 car. He started in 10th position after 22 laps. He is going to be challenging Logan Clampett for the 2nd position as we finish off lap number 22 and start onto lap number 23. Right behind him is Cody Bias. Also, Derek Bordeaux, coming off of that massive save he has had, is running right now in the 5th position. So battles are tightening up front. That's exactly what you want to see. We're going to be coming upon some lap traffic, though. Adam Gilliland with his damaged car is going to be entering into corner number 3 right now. We'll see if that could potentially trip up some of these leading cars.
And obviously we have to keep an eye on these battles up front, but just to note, there are fights like this going on all over the racetrack. Bobby Zelensky at 15th has been fighting with the company guys for a few laps, trying to maintain position. Chris Overland and Michael Conti in there exchanging positions. In fact, Polster to Michael Conti just fell to 14th position the last time by that Pick Chevrolet. Not necessarily where he wants it at this moment in time. Luza, though, going to continue the march forward way up against the outside fence in the entry to quarter number 3. He will pass and clear that 44 Logan Clampett. 1 spot remains as he tries to fight to the top of the pile, 10th to 2nd in 25 laps.
Yeah, now the problem is he's got to run that high side, but so that's the exact same line that Alan Bose is running. So now what do? How do you make the pass, and how do you make it work as the top 2 guys now start to spread their wings a little bit more, and they're going to pull away now from the 44 Logan Clampett as he comes under fire from Cody Bias. Bias now up to the 3rd spot. He utilizes the bottom lane. And it's got swaps of positions all over the place. How about Kenny Humpy right now trying to get into the top 5? He's battling side by side now back into turn 1 with Derek Bordeaux.
And that's 2 wides to 2x2. You've got Davies up there, and you've got Bordeaux on the outside. It looks like Humpy going to win one of those battles. Humpy started right behind Luza, back at 11th spot. First time tonight, he cracks into the top 5. And now the battle for the race lead is on. Luza decides outside is not available. He goes to the bottom and makes it stick. New race leader, lap number 26. It is Ryan Luza getting the job done one way or another. Now in front of the 21. Caution to flag, going to fly though behind just as he looked to try to run away. Problems on the front straightaway with a 40 machine of Jimmy Mullis.
Yeah, Jimmy Mullis, he is parked in the outside catch wall, as I believe perhaps PJ Sturgis was involved in this one. Oh no, I think what's happened is Jimmy Mullis got it loose coming off of 4. He managed to gather it back up, but not before getting a tap from PJ Sturgis. Sturgis, he ends up getting a big wallop on the front, so his forward fusion is quite damaged, and Jimmy Mullis, obviously the entire front clip is ripped off of that number 40 machine.
Yeah, Sturgis just in a bad position. Got him once. Looks like probably got him 2 or 3 times total. Could have been a lot worse. He could have got stuffed into the fence with the 40 machine, but PJ Sturgis definitely going to be damaged in that one. And obviously the big loser in that is Jimmy Mullis, who takes a hard hit on that 40, and that's going to slow us down. The point that I was going to make is Ryan Luza looked fast in traffic, and he was able to fight his way to the race lead. And I was about to say that he's going to try to do something as we come back live that nobody had done yet tonight, and that is pull away from the race lead. Not going to have that opportunity, but we are going to have to wait just a little bit longer to see how these tires are on a long run. Pit road is going to be open this time by, and I'm expecting that number 1 Ford to lead him down.
Yeah, pit road will definitely be busy. All the leaders have not been down there yet this race here. 28 laps on the board right now. And here they all come, all of them heading down pit road. I expect maybe some cars to take some changes here early on. You finally get a good feel of what it's like with all these cars around you and the type of passing we've had. Maybe these guys got some strategy calls for themselves as far as what to change on these race cars, make them a little bit better maybe on that bottom line to give them that preferred lane. But 4 tires is definitely going to be the call for all these drivers as they all get both sides jacked up. Looks like Alan Bowes, 4 tires, he'll drop away. Loser, though, he'll win the race off pit road.
Yeah, he didn't have the best pit box selection after having to qualify back in 10th position after the result that they got. Qualified with the 26.924, almost 0.2 of a second slower than the 26.790 that was put down by Michael Conti, who gets the #1 pit stall. Not going to matter on the race off of pit road, though. It's going to be Luza, Bowes, Clampett, Bias, and Humpy, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as we come back out on the racetrack. And as they catch up to the pace car, looks like one driver staying out in this one, at least for the moment, actually. Nolan Scott, not on the lead lap, 41st position, 25 laps down. I believe he's going to have to wait until this time around for pit road to be open. And we'll see if that number 16 decides to dive down or if he just decides to stay out, look for a wave by. And it looks like the 16 may be thinking about the latter of the two.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough when your race has been affected that much as Nolan Scott's has. David Rattler also, he's still in the pits, many laps down. Philip Diaz, obviously, Christian Jalner, obviously. So that's a tough one for Nolan Scott. He'll probably come right on in. And for Ryan Michael Luza, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this point. A couple of weeks ago, we had a very big, don't necessarily know how to say it, a jamboree of sorts of the celebration of dirt racing, the Eldora Spring Classic, and he took away both the wing sprint and the late model cars' victories in the A main. That was an outstanding run from Ryan Michael Luza. So I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise that on a wicked loose Ford Fusion Cup car here at Texas, wheeling it around at 170 plus, that Ryan manages to work his way to the front. Doesn't seem that there's a track that's able to trip him up so far.
And not only was he charging through the field, but I mean, it's racy out there. He started 10th, he runs it first. I was talking about Kenny Humpy. Humpy was able to not lose any positions on the second pit stop, so he remains in 5th position. That's +6 where he started. You've got Dylan Duvall, who's gone 15th to 8th. Zach Novak, 19th to 11th, and even the likes of Marcus Richardson back, who started 25th and runs in 13th at the moment. Brian Blackford started 42nd, runs in 18th. However, for as many guys as you have picking up handfuls of spots here and there, Andy, you have to have guys losing spots, and not the best opening stint there for Michael Conti, as we noted. Your pole sitter way back in 17th at the moment.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that really, his car didn't look comfortable on that high side, and once everybody kind of figured out the high side was the place to be, instead of a freight train on the bottom going around those guys on the high side, it was the opposite right there, and he was on that bottom side trying to make it work, but just everybody seemed to figure out that high line, especially as the tires got older. We'll see how this restart goes, Evan. I kind of want to see if everybody goes right to the high side immediately, or if it's one of them things where the bottom side is good for the first 10 laps, then you got to start to migrate up to the top. We'll see, though, and I think we'll get a good idea probably what the remainder of this race will be, especially on the restarts.
We are getting set for another restart. There is plenty of action still to come tonight. Restart going to be with 31 laps complete of our 167 on the board. We'll see if this stint is quite as crazy as the last one. Luza not going to have to go forwards. He's going to have to play defense, try not to get passed up by the Hungry Hounds behind him. Green flag flies are back underway. Decent jump for both drivers on the front row. Luza Bowes going to be able to hang on to 1-2.
Everyone is going to be trying to get into single file. Perhaps maybe that top side has kept enough heat and enough rubber to allow it to work, as they are now coming out of 2 for the very first time here on lap number 32. And this green flag run, we'll see how long this one goes. But Ryan Michael Luza, good start. Somebody's way up top, Dirk Bordeaux, and we have a caution flag out, but I don't necessarily see much action going on. Perhaps going back, it's PJ Sturgio's 57 car.
At 57, turned around and into the outside fence. It started in quarter number 2. That's the same place where we saw the problem on our first green flag of the night that brought out a yellow on the same lap as the restart. The 9 machine looks like he got really checked out. Tyler Hill on the inside of Brian Schoenberg. You're taking a second look, and I think that 57 tried to go high to get around him, and I'm not sure if the 9 intentionally shut the door or if he was just trying to chase it up the hill, but the 57 moved right, the 9 moved right and got hooked into the outside fence, and both Sturgis and that number 9 of Tyler Hill end up into the outside fence into the caution flag. Caution flag is out. That could have been a lot worse, man. Mitchell Hunt plastered up against the outside wall, belt hit both of those guys, somehow comes out without a scratch.
Yeah, sometimes it's just your night right there. That was a great job by Mitchell Hunt, able to get around all of them. But, man, just a tough break. When it's not your night, it's not your night. And you can say that for the 57 of PJ Sturgis, a winner here 1 year ago. But tonight, just not his night all the way from the start of the green flag. Not posting a qualifying time, starting in 37th and then having the trouble on lap number 1 with some damage. And then now this pretty much capping off what is not the night he wants to remember here at Texas.
That'll slow us down nice and quickly like we did on that first drop with the green flag. Pit road was open that time by at least nobody from up at the front of the field deciding to come down pit road. Maybe a couple of guys at the back down pit road try to get some damage service, and drivers involved in that one, drivers involved in earlier cautions on pit road. Tyler Hill, Matt Busa, PJ Sturgis, Timmy Hill, Casey Tucker, Jimmy Mullis, Will Cooley, Christian Challoner. Some of the names on pit road. Rattler and Diaz also down at for service. With the small handful of caution flags that we've had to this point, we have lost 5 drivers from the lead lap, all 38 drivers who were scored on the lead lap the last time by. That includes PJ Sturgis. He has heavy damage, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get back out there, so we may lose another one, but at least 39th on back. Gilliland, and then Scott, Rattler, Diaz, and Challoner. Gilliland, the highest running of those lap down cars. He's 17 laps down at the moment, so if you've had problems tonight, they've been pretty big ones.
Yeah, and it all started off with that first incident going on from 16 back. That collected a lot of vehicles. Tyler Hill seems, at least, he's going out back onto the racing surface, so perhaps his car is not as bad as he would have thought, though I think he's going to be a lap down. No, I think he's actually perhaps going to just go 1 lap down, maybe even stay on the same lap, as Timmy Hill was also in the pit lane as well. PJ Sturgis is also out, but his car is going to be severely reduced. The entire front clip of that 57 is now missing. Wouldn't even be able to tell it's a Ford just by looking at it. And for Ryan Michaeluza, well, he had a great start on his first restart. Well, let's see what he can do now on restart number 2.
And keeping an eye to see if we do get the lights out on top of the pace car this time around. While we're under the caution, do want to remind you that tonight's coverage of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing and RaceSpotTV, is brought to you by Peak. At Peak, we're not afraid to mix it up with the big boys, and that's why we've been actively involved in motorsports for over 30 years. We identify with the straight shooters like John Force and Clint Boyer, just 2 of the truly great racers who've been a part of the Peak family throughout the years. Today, Peak still aims to shock the motorsports establishment party as a way to showcase the excellence and competitive quality of our family of brands, but mostly because it's so much fun. Look for our drivers and teams to challenge the heavy hitters in NASCAR, the NHRA, Dirt Late Model Racing, and more. For more information, you can go to www.peakauto.com. This time across the line they come, and the lights will go out on top of the pace car. 131 laps, Andy, still to go when they drop the nylon.
Yeah, a lot of time, lots of time left for this thing to get figured out here, and a lot of drivers pretty antsy up towards the front of the field that want to get going. I mean, honestly, what I've seen so far, I know this is rather early into it, but the cars with this new package just seem awful racy here, Evan. It just it seems like they can pass. They can make the moves. They can ride the outside lane, the bottom lane. I mean, it really seems, from what I see, I like it a lot. It'll be interesting to, as we talk to drivers over the next few weeks, what they think of the new package, the new downforce package, and see if it's something that, I mean, at least for our perspective from watching it, it seems pretty fun out there.
We will definitely keep an eye throughout the field, but that battle for the race lead was quite intense. I think on that last stint we saw 4 lead changes alone at about that 30-lap window. We'll see if we can do that again this time through. The number 1 to lose, I got a good jump on these guys the last time. We will see if he can do it again. Pace car down and away once again. Absolutely no stutter. The number 1 off and away. Bose all over Declan, though, going to follow him into quarter number 1 on the bumper. Battle for third behind them. Clamp it on the inside. Going to get it away as Bias sinks to 5th.
Yeah, and that was a very good start by Alan Bowes as far as the second position goes. This is the second time he has been very close to calling what Ryan Michaeluza has done, but he does end up having to slot in, of course, as the leader will always get the jump no matter what it seems here at Texas. But either way, he was able to manage to get at least up to speed quickly, but not to say that Logan Clampett didn't have a good start of his own, as they're going too wide right behind Derek Bordeaux and Cody Bias. That outside line just isn't in, so they apparently have to wear that second line in up top before they can really run that, as they're starting to get pretty hustled in the back. Dylan Duval looking to go well inside for position number 8.
And we saw that on the opening portions of that last run, too, is that inside was the place to be first 4 or 5 laps, and then slowly but surely as the run went on, everybody started to fight for the outside of the racetrack. Outside typically not the best place to be on restarts. That's where Alan Bowes finds himself now in the battle for second. He's allowed Clampett to get to the bottom. The 44 pulled about a half a car in the center of the corner, but 21 fights back with the run off of the corner, and wasting no time, Alan Bowes all the way to the outside fence. Not going to be enough, though. The 44 takes over at P2.
Takes over that spot, leaves it a battle for third now with Cody Bias to the inside of Alan Bowes. He's going to look for that position. He'll clear him now through the center of 1 and 2. Here comes Derek Bordeaux now to the back bumper as he drops down to the bottom. And a slight clearing, now looking for the crossover move. Here comes Alan Bowes now to the inside of Cody Bias. They're going to continue that fight now for that third spot. As we've got some 2-wide action behind him as well. Look who's on the outside. Ray Alfalla trying to get it done in the outside lane. He's to the outside of Duval. We got side-by-side racing throughout the top 10.
The excitement continues up. It's all in that middle portion of the top 10. The 2 and a 58 side by side. That would a battle for 7th. Behind them, battling for 9th. The 11 of Brad Davies. Outside, the 05 of Gottinger. On the inside of the racetrack. Just so many options for somebody to pick and choose from. And that 2x2 going to continue all the way through the corner. Alfalla going to lose a spot to Kenny Humpy, who's going to jump up to P7. Meanwhile, that battle for 9th just behind them keeps locked door to door.
Looking to try on the inside is Cody Bias. At least once he'll have to back off of it. Nick Ottinger and Ray Alfalla further back, still side by side. Ray Alfalla, he's starting to make that outside line work. The outside seems to get a better punch coming off of the corners, as there goes Brad Davies following through. I think the outside's coming into its own as Derek Bordeaux, he looks to be getting some speed over Dylan Duval just ahead of that ongoing battle between Ray Alfalla and Nick Ottinger. Now Brad Davies is there working through. Looks like this new aero package is quite a good one, I have to say, at least in the running we've seen here at Texas. Lots of passing going on. Cars are slipping, sliding all over Brad Davies. He made one pass on the outside, immediately goes to the inside, trying to work the inside line now as they're both approaching Kenny Humpy. As we're reaching lap 44 this time by. Your leader is still Ryan Michaeluza.
He's actually holding about a 2.5 car gap. That's not a lot. Clampett still there, 1/10 of a second off, but the question is, can that number 1 hold on for 5, 6, 7 laps? That's something that really nobody has done to this point tonight. That front spot has been all but a revolving door. A lot going on inside of the top 5. Duval outside line. Meanwhile, the 04 of Bordeaux behind him decided to take the inside, and somehow all of that ended up single file. That time cut out of quarter number 4. It's Lusa, Clampett, Bias, Bowes, Duval, your top 10. Bordeaux, Humpy, Alfalla, Davies, Ottinger inside of the top 10. Ottinger looking to go +1 to the inside of Davies. Not going to make it stick, though, on the bottom of the racetrack. And now inside of the top 5. Here comes Dylan Duval looking for a second career trip to victory lane. Trying to move up to P4 on Alan Bowes. Great move into the quarter. Can't get the speed off, and it will squeeze 3 wide with some lap traffic for extra measure.
That was a close one right there with Adam Gilliland with that damaged machine coming off of turn number 4. Everyone able to escape that as he goes high to the outside in 1 and 2, allows the faster guys to the inside. The battle for 4th continues to go on as Alan Bowes now takes the inside. Duval to the outside. Almost had some side-by-side for 2nd, as well as Cody Bias now starting to put pressure on Logan Clampett. And that battle's going on right now just ahead of these other 2, and it's going to be 2 by 2 now, 2 rows deep for that 2nd spot in turn 1.
If anybody this is good news for, it is that one elusive, because typically a battle behind would mean you're going to be able to get away. Bias gets it on the inside. Big run for the 42. Nowhere to go. And how about Clampett? Just got passed up by the 27 on the bottom. Crossed him right over off the corner. Now he's back on the inside in 3 and 4. Not going to make it stick this time, but he'll have to fight with Duval coming off of the corner. But these guys are just going at it. Fantastic stuff. The top 5 that time by separated by less than 5/10 of a second. It continues on lap 48.
And Ryan Michaeluza seems to be holding steady. He gets a very good launch off of corner number 4. I would have figured with these guys fighting he would just be cruising away, but that is absolutely not the case. It was a 28.514. Well, somebody went a little bit faster at 28.513. So you're talking about lap times very, very minuscule. Even when these guys are fighting for position 2 on back, Ryan Michaeluza just doesn't seem to be able to be pulling away, and everyone just keeping right at it. And here comes Alan Bowes. He's working on the outside of Cody Bias right now. Perhaps his car has come into play, and I also see Derek Bordeaux. He's shifting between the top and the bottom, and Logan Clampett, well, he is just slowly cycling back, perhaps conserving tires, perhaps not. But for Alan Bowes and Derek Bordeaux, they are rolling through this field.
In front of them, Alan Bowes was using every single inch of the racetrack and then some to stay in front of Duval in a battle for third. And he scraped the fence at a quarter number 4 to stay topside, get around the 42. He goes right back down to the inside of the 27 and tries to make a move for P2. So side by side they go again. 21, you saw the back end step out just a little bit there off of the quarter. And the 27 is going to be able to have the lead at least at the start-finish line. These guys are not racing with cars that are sticking to the racetrack, though, Andy. They're so loose, and I think that is in part why there's so many passing opportunities. But these guys got to be careful getting awfully squirrely in these battles. Look at the 27 looking to cross over the 21. Can't do it because Bias got cut off there. Bowes went to the inside to get around some lap traffic. But these guys are going up and down, inside and out and in the middle. Every inch of this racetrack a viable line.
I'm loving it. I mean, this is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, when's the last time we've seen these guys be able to do this? I mean, a lot of times, typically over the last season or so, you see them, they get strung up in a single file line, and that's the way pretty much they're going to run until green flag pit stops. Or this is just absolutely phenomenal, and I think Ryan Lutz is loving what he's seeing in the mirror right now, because this is about the only opportunity, and this is the biggest lead we've seen here tonight right now as he works his way off of turn number 4. He's got about a 10, 15 car length gap right now on that 21 of Alan Bowes. It's about 6/10, maybe about half a second gap, but these guys are just the phenomenal racing we see, and in the side of the top 10, and this is going on throughout the field right now. It's just we can't take our eyes off the top 10 right now.
Yeah, we said that we noted it earlier, like a battle going on right now for 12th. Corey Vincent, Marcus Richardson, they're fighting with each other, and I'm sure this battle back in 17th, 22nd, and 30th, but so much going on inside of the top 10 now, you really just can't keep your eyes off of it. Duval and Clampett now doing battle. One thing to note, though, as we see these guys side by side for 5th, continuing to fight now back off to 1 and 2, is that Luza is still in control, and I think at 5/10 of a second, may be working the biggest gap for the race lead we've seen so far tonight.
Yeah, and it has been good running all along so far. I see that Ray Alfala has closed right on up onto Logan Clampett and Cody Bias. That's actually Dylan Duval, my mistake. Dylan Duval had started in a 15th. He's worked his way up pretty close as Derek Bordeaux has worked his way away. He's in the 4th position in that 04 Ford, and I think he might even be slowly catching Cody Bias as we are having a very long extended green flag run. That's exactly what we want to see here as these tires get even more worn and worn. It's going to only get better as these cars are starting to see some tails kicking off on the exit of 4 as Logan Clampett is going to be losing a position to Brad Davies if he's got him lined up correctly going into 1, which he does, and I think Kenny Humpy is going to even ride to the inside, actually getting a little bit loose as Brad Davies, he recovers the car. Logan Clampett having a very good exit coming off of 2. Well, he didn't have that one, I might have jinxed it.
And they didn't have a lot of space between them to begin with, but that 11 walked up the hill, and he was just a couple of inches, if any, off of the door of the 44. So all these close calls, these guys got to be holding their breaths at some point. Humpy going to go to the inside as the 11 ball, but again, that time to 4, side by side for 7th. Behind them, side by side for 9th, with the 15 of Zach Novak on the inside, and 2 of Ray Alfala. And this battle, 2 by 2, going to continue down the back straightaway. Outside, hoping to be where Davies can get his advantage from, but that 58 not giving up, plastered to that white line. As we continue to watch this exciting action, do to remind you that this portion of tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Peak Antifreeze and Coolant, the official antifreeze of NASCAR and the proud sponsor of the Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.
There's some great stuff going on all throughout. How about the 0-1 right now, making his move up to Marcus Richardson. Now 3 wide action into turn number 3. Ray Alfala stuck way to the high side right now. They'll settle it out just a bit here as Novak gets that position away from Ray Alfala, and now Marcus Richardson gets another spot away from Ray Alfala. So just like that, 2 spots lost, put Ray Alfala now outside the top 10. The racing is just absolutely phenomenal right now, as you see Dylan Duvall looking for a spot as well. That's the 4th spot as he battles Derek Bordeaux off turn 2.
Yeah, Bordeaux going to get a big run coming down to corner 2, and Duvall tries to play defense on the inside. You just can't block the outside of the racetrack. Again, if the preferred lane's the bottom, it's easy to run defensively because you hold the bottom. And with the 04 on the preferred lane, that time slides up at 42, comes up the bottom. And I mean, I think the outside, if you were to go outside or inside, I think the outside is the place to be, but you can see that the inside is definitely working, I think, more so on this one than it did on the last one, because that 44 clamp it rather easily took a spot away from Bordeaux. That time falls all the way to 6th -2 on this lap alone, and yet you can have somebody make that same move on the outside the next time around. So we'll keep an eye on that battle for 2nd place. Also now a factor. How about Cody Bias now going from 3rd to 2nd, and kicking Alan Bowes now back to 3rd.
Yeah, and it is just good running right here, I have to say. I think the tires at this point are getting worn out, but they're also running single file so much. I think that outside line is going away. It seems to be very dependent on how many people are running up there. The more people that run up there, it seems, the better it goes. Derek Bordeaux, he's got his 2nd slapper on that car, runs right up to the wall. That allows Brad Davies to go on to the inside there, as Derek Bordeaux, that is save number 2 for the 04, and he's going to lose quite a couple of positions. I think at this point, you got to start wondering perhaps when you want to come in and get some new tires, as Marcus Richardson, his teammate, sitting right behind. A lot of cars are now wiggling and dancing as they're cycling here onto lap number 62. Quite a bit of laps on these Goodyear Eagles, Evan, and I have to say, if these guys keep at it like this, it wouldn't be too long, I think, before somebody ends in the outside wall.
We've had a handful of close calls so far. Look at the 01, splits the gap from behind the 04, slices in front of the 15 on the inside, and tries to pick up position number 8. And if these cars are so out of control to the point where you could make a pass on somebody, and I mean, pass them rather quickly, be quick off of the corner, and then have a mistake of your own the next time by, and they'll cross you right back up and get the spot back. If these cars are so unstable on relatively good tires, if we can make it another 20-25 laps at a run, get to where those tires are really starting to get worn, these cars will definitely be a handful.
Yeah, I'm just loving what I'm seeing going through the corners here. That last time you saw Kenny Humpy almost up to the wall, almost Kyle Larson-esque right there, and able to get the spot now away from the 11. It looks like the 05 Odger calling out that he's going to come down to pit road here this time. He's right now currently in that 14th spot. So I think we're getting to the point where you're going to start seeing some of these guys head down pit road, but at the same time, I mean, this is just the speeds aren't that far off, and it's just fun to watch all the different lanes we see going on, especially through the corner, especially more, I think, in 1 and 2 than we do in 3 and 4. Some guys just way up to the wall. Kenny Humpy, one of them, as he starts to pull up to the back bumper now. And Dylan Duvall, caution, though, further back.
Yeah, the caution flag is out here, and it may be the 04 machine who's around, and it is Derek Bordeaux on the back straightaway. He has been one of the drivers, Cam, that we've noted at least twice has had quite the scare, and This time he didn't have enough rubber left on it to hang on. Looked like he clipped the apron on the exit of quarter 2 back at lap 65. We'll be taking a second look in just a moment here on the iAnalyzeRacing.com machine. Slid up the hill, and he couldn't use all of that real estate to go up to the fence because the 15 was up on the outside of fence against him, and the 04 tried to lock it right, ended up spinning that car around, and evidently came to a stop on the inside of the racetrack. Good piece of driving, though, to not get involved with anybody else and to keep that car off the wall.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I mean, for the third time now, he's managed to really wrangle that car around. This time, though, of course, the car did end up spinning. Good heads up from Corey Vincent. He called that perfectly. He gave it a dab of brake, gave it a big wiggle, and then he was off and running, and he didn't really lose much at all. And there was a massive save from Andrew Fayash III. I think perhaps even he lost it coming off of corner number 2, and once everyone was hooking up, actually, he just dove right down to the inside. So good running around from everybody else as we're under caution once again here. Well, we don't have to worry about all that green flag running and how slippery everything is going to get. They're all going to come down and get new tires, I'm pretty sure.
Race leaders in Lusa already into the box. Right side tires going to go up, expecting it to be really what the call has been all night, and I wouldn't estimate that anybody, based on how these cars have been handled, really wants to go 2 tires at this point in the race. Drive race off for the pit lane, not really going to be one. Lusa going to win that battle off of pit road. Bose, Bias, and then clamp it with Duval. Your first handful of drivers coming off of the pit lane. Handful of drivers elect not to come down pit road. Looks like it is all lap cars. Adam Gilliland, Nick Ottinger, Philip Diaz, and Challoner going to have to wait until pit road opens for them this time around. And one thing that I took particular note of in the 15-minute warm-up session before the race started, and I mean, people do it week in and week out, no doubt, but I think more so than maybe other tracks is that a lot of guys, Andy, were practicing green flag pit stops. There was a handful of people who I saw come down pit road acting like it was green flag conditions, got into the box, got back out there, and on that outlap came back down pit road the next time to corner 4, really trying to nail that entry. And so far, through 67 laps, haven't had an opportunity to see that be of use.
Yeah, and the only one that has was the 05 of Nick Ottinger. He was the one that called out about a lap too early there to come down pit road. Came down, lost a lap, now finds himself having to get the wave around here, which will happen probably the next time around here. So for a guy who started up towards the front of the field, ran around the top 10 there, he pitted around the 14th spot there. Now he's going to find himself deep into this field, and we'll actually see what type of race car, how much speed he's gotten at, see if he can climb his way back up through the field. Plenty of time for him to do it, just under 100 laps to get it done here to the end of this thing. So we'll see what Nick Ottinger can do. And as far as the rest of the guys up front, I mean, it's kind of exactly what we talked about, Evan. The first 10 laps or so of a run, the bottom lane, that's the place to be. But then as the tires wear out, we saw everybody start to merge. 2 lanes up, 3 lanes up by the wall. I mean, it just, I love it. I think this is great racing, probably the best we've seen all year.
Yeah, the racing this year has been fun, no doubt, but I think that tonight, this car-track combo has just been unreal tonight. And again, we can't say it enough. You might see it in the background of some of these shots, but obviously we have to cover the battles for 5th and 6th and 7th and so on and so forth. But this kind of racing, not exclusive to the top 10. In fact, normally you'll have more racing like this back in the pack where there's more drivers kind of squished together, and the guys up front are typically the guys that string it out. But top to bottom in the field tonight, these guys have been absolutely all over each other, and we want to make sure that you stay a part of the conversation as the night goes on. So chat with us on Twitter by using the hashtags iRacingWCS and the hashtag NPAS. That's NPAS, and to be a part of our conversation as the night goes on. With that being said, lights are back out on top of the pace car. Restart due up inside for the first time tonight. Under green flag conditions, we will be inside of 100 laps to go.
And Ryan Michael Luza, we'll see if he gets another good start. Alan Bose will be able to call it this time, as Cody Bias will be on the inside, Logan Clampett on the outside. Should be a fairly interesting start. We'll see just how fast they get single file.
Field going to be in the hands of the Wonder Machine. Luza took off right away on that last one. Again, race leader has the opportunity to go between when the pace car drops down and the exit of the restart box. We will see what what kind of hesitation the number 1 brings this time. At a corner number 4, pace car down and away does hold them back much longer than the last time. Couple of guys behind tried to guess. One machine now with a gas with the green flag back in the air, and we go back underway. Working lap 70 to quarter 1. Top 3 single file battling for 4th behind.
Yeah, side by side for that 4th spot. Logan Clampett stuck on the outside right now. Dylan Duvall with the preferred line now. Has half a car length now as he sits side by side into turn number 3. You got Brad Davies just behind him as well. Look at Kenny Humpy on the outside. He's been one of the guys that's like the outside right from the start right now, Kenny Humpy. So we'll see what he can do here in the opening stages of this one. But how about Blake Reynolds? Started 17th, up inside the top 10 right now on this restart. He's looking good right now on that bottom lane, hugging that white line as they go through turns 1 and 2. Side-by-side action continues up front here. The battle for 3rd now. You got Dylan Duvall trying to take the inside from Bose.
And Bose falling back on the outside of the racetrack, somewhere where he looked very strong on the most recent run. He was 2nd the last time by. That time around it, he falls to 6th. Just like that, on the lane that was the preferred lane about 5 laps ago. Now on fresh tires, though, everybody fighting for that dark rubbered in bottom lane to the racetrack. The 58 close huddle after a quarter panel that time, and I think Kenny Humpy had the lift to avoid an accident there in that battle for 6th on track, but he's going to be able to get it on the inside as the 21 continues to sink back.
Yeah, and that was just not really a good couple of string of laps from Alan Bose, as here comes Ray Alfalda is inside. Marcus Richardson leaning now to the inside as, for the 2nd time now, I think Alan Bose has now tried to dip to the inside. He probably should be able to slot in this going into corner number 3 as Corey Vincent and his number 10 goes to the inside of Marcus Richardson. But looking just through a couple of places, Michael Connie in that number 5 car, well, he started first. He's all the way back in 14th as they restarted, and he really hasn't been having a grand old day as they're going to go 3 wide for a 2nd. Now, of course, we've still got the fight for the lead. Ryan Michaeluza, he's covering his corners, though, as Cody Bias, Dylan Duvall driving him to the inside of the track as Logan Clampett following, and they are really rocking and rolling here, trying to see perhaps who can chase down Ryan Michaeluza, or at the very least, who gets the opportunity to chase down that number 1 car.
That was a little bit of a move to the inside and a little bit of a block courtesy of Dylan Duvall. He was definitely trying to get inside of the 27, and he saw Clampett wanting to make it 3 wide and had no intentions really of letting that happen, so he made that move to the inside all the way to the apron, just to be sure that that inside, like we were talking about, trying to protect that preferred lane, was available to him. Now, that move meant that he didn't have a shot at the 27, but Cody Bias trying to pull away just a little bit off of that battle for 2nd and 3rd and try to make it a battle for the race lead. Ryan Lusa, I think, has held the race lead now more than anybody so far tonight, and Bias trying to change that. Lusa eventually was able to pull away on that last run, and Bias trying to nick him before he can do that.
Yeah, he's definitely trying, at least trying to stay with them right now. The top 5 really nose to tail right now off of turn number 4. A little bit of a gap back to Kenny Humpy in that 6th spot, but other than that, these top 5 guys really going at it right now. How about Brad Davies? You mentioned it earlier. What a fantastic run for him right now in that top 5. Trying to look for more as he tried to utilize the high side there in turns 1 and 2. Almost a diamond effect. We see guys use that type of driving at places like Dover, not at Texas. So here we go, trying to just figure out what they can do on these fresh tires. As you see Cody Bias now up to the high side, trying to see what he can do and see if he can catch that 1 car here and try to get that race lead back.
And Luz's car looks pretty stable at this juncture. We've been talking so much tonight about how unstable these cars are. The 1 isn't really all over the place. Cody Bias, I don't think the same thing can be said for him. He looks absolutely spectacular right now in P2. You know, he's been holding his own relatively better than most guys have tonight, but he'll get up for the bumper of the Wanalooza, and then he'll fall back a little bit for the bumper of the Wanalooza. And I don't think that's Luza having better and worse laps. I think that's the 1 just not pushing it to his limit, but getting everything he can while that car stays with all 4 tires on the ground out of it, and he's leaving Bias behind him to be the one to force the issue, and that's why you see that 27 to make a charge and then fall back a little bit and vice versa, on and on.
perhaps probing to see where he could make the pass. Brad Davies, that number 11 car, he is trying so very hard, just barely touching the rear of that 42 car of Dylan Duval. They are so close to one another in the middle of that corner where that right front headlight, as it were, would almost be touching the rear, the left rear tail light, which is a very dangerous position to be into coming off a corner exit. They did that twice in a row. Brad Davies is really trying to work, perhaps seeing where he could lean. He's going to try perhaps lifting that car, that number 11, to the outside a little bit as they're going to go 3 wide just behind almost Logan Clampett, Kenny Humpy, and Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds having moved up from 17th. He's up 10 positions as they cross the line, finishing out lap number 80 on to lap 81. And they're still going 2 wide. Action is picking up here at Texas Motor Speedway.
These guys are going to continue to fight, no doubt. 58 topside. Kenny Humpy, what a move around Blake Reynolds on the outside and now to the inside of Logan Clampett and got both positions beautifully done. But the 58 Chevrolet, and even he's not immune to his own tricks. Clampett going to cross him up at a quarter 4. I'm not sure what, Andy, if I've seen more crossovers tonight or on dirt all week long. These guys are absolutely going at it. Another set of 2x2.
Yeah, some slide jobs going on too as well. I just think this package is just absolutely phenomenal, and I think with the introduction of dirt with the dynamic track, I think it affected things a little bit on the asphalt side too, and I'm loving it. I just think this is absolutely phenomenal. What we're seeing right now is Logan Clampett falling back into the clutches of that 66 of Blake Reynolds right now as Humpy has been able to pull away just a bit now from that 44, but look at him up by the wall, real high up by the wall in 1 and 2, and look at the launch he is off of turn number 2. He'll close that gap on the 11 back into turn 3.
And this new 2017 rules package obviously came with those new Toyota Camrys, so spot those on the racetrack. You can tell that they do look like what you see now this season in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. And obviously it's the 2017 package. A lot of the changes you can't see just from the cameras. One thing that you can see is just how small the spoiler is to match that 2017 rules package, taking a lot of downforce away. That's why these guys are slipping and sliding all over the racetrack, trying to keep up with who's where, because these positions inside of the top 10, not even getting to talk about, 15th and 20th and so on back, but the guys up front continue to swap out their positions so frequently, having to keep an eye myself on the ticker at the top of the screen to see who's going plus and who's going minus, lap in and lap out. I'll tell you what, though, the top 10 last time by, keep it in mind that we're over 10 laps off of the restart, only 1.5 seconds separating those top 10 guys, really still tightly packed together.
Yeah, and Kenny Humpy, he has been working the high side as hard as he can, and now he dips to the inside to go onto Brad Davies, as Dylan Duval was almost going to be challenged by that number 11, but it just didn't work out. Everybody's packed up from second on back. Ryan Michael Luza, once again, he's got enough of a gap. Look at how high Kenny Humpy's going. What is this, Darlington? That is not what you like to see, I would surmise, but he gets such a great exit coming off of 4. Look at how much he's able to close into Brad Davies. He just stalks it right up high, and Blake Reynolds is starting to catch on here. He wants some of that, and now he's going to once again get a great run, and he's going to stay to the outside. We're going to see an outside pass here at Texas Motor Speedway, and it's going to be done before they even get into corner number 1. So Kenny Humpy, he is working the outside. Very nice here at Texas. That's a wonderful thing to see. I think Dylan Duval is catching on to it, isn't it? Looking in his rearview mirror as we're finishing out lap 87.
Another theory could be is that these guys have just been spending so much time on dirt in the last couple of weeks that they still think that they're out at Eldora, and as the race goes on, they keep moving up to the outside line and keep thinking that slide jobs is the only way to get the job done. We have 34 cars scored on the lead lap at this moment. And the last time by, we crossed the halfway point in tonight's Texas 250. Let's take this opportunity to take a look at our iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and many more. Right now, Ryan Luza continues to defend the race lead to the tune of 0.2 of a second over Cody Bias. Just behind them, Dylan Duval runs in third, Kenny Humpy fourth, and Brad Davies in fifth. Those top 5 still within 1 second of each other. Just behind him, a big mover, Blake Reynolds, has gone 17th to 6th position. Ray Alfalla, kind of quiet tonight, running exactly where he started in the number 7 spot, under fire by your outside pole sitter, Logan Clampett, who runs at 8th. Just behind them, Alan Bowes in 9th, and Corey Vincent rounds out your top 10.
And running in the 11th position right now is that number 47, Chris Overland. He's been working hard pretty much all day long, but it really hasn't gotten to much. He started 12th, he's in 12th. Marcus Richardson, however, who is trading positions with him, started 25th, and he's worked his way up, so he's obviously hooked up here at Texas. Jake Sturgis is in 13th. The surviving Sturgis brother is PJ, had an early retirement. Bobby Zelensky, though, following behind. He started 13th. He's currently running right now in 14th. Zach Novak in 15th. Ryan Lowe, he is going to be in 16th position, and then he got quite a gap to your starter of this race, really. You qualified in first position. Michael Conti, that number 5 car, well, he's in 17th right now, and even he's right now under pressure by the 39 of Michael J. Johnson, who's in the 18th. Derek Bordeaux, well, we've seen him catch the car twice. An amazing show put out. The third time, not so much. He ended up spinning out. He's worked his way through the field, I would imagine, in that 04 car, and he is currently in 19th. I'm sure we'll see him later on today. And Brandon Schmidt rounds out your top 20 here on lap 92.
Josh Berry and Brandon Schmidt just swapped positions that last lap, so moved Schmidt back to 21st, 22nd to Nicholas Johnson. Andrew Fayash currently in that 23rd spot, 24th. That goes to Brian Blackford. Chris Sherburne, 25th. 26th goes to Casey Tucker. Nick Ottinger, who had to rebound from pitting under the green. One lap down, get it back. Now he's up to 27th currently. 28th goes to Joe Littorello. Matt Busa in the 29th spot. And 30th goes to Chandler Krizik.
Final couple of drivers on the lead lap, and by the way, these guys are only 11 plus seconds back, so everybody really keeping good pace tonight. But 31st position for Will Cooley. Brian Schoenberg runs in 32nd, Byron Daly 33rd, and Timmy Hill in 34th. Those are the final drivers on the lead lap. There is one driver 2 laps down in 35th. That is Mitchell Hunt. He is really the only lap car somewhat in this thing and could feasibly be able to get himself back to the lead lap with a couple of wave bys. Behind him, you're talking 32 plus laps down, and for the most part, these guys are out of the race. Jimmy Mullison, 36th, Adam Gilliland, 37th, Tyler Hill, 38th, PJ Sturgis, 39th, and David Rattler in the 40th position. Final 3 guys, 41st through 43rd. Nolan Scott, Philip Diaz, and Christian Chalader. That's a look top to bottom at your iRacing midway race break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, you can visit iRacing.com to sign up today. And if you are a fan of asphalt or dirt racing, there is a limited time exclusive offer to get yourself signed up. Just go to iRacing.com/World of Outlaws, and there are 2 special offers available right now for World of Outlaws fans to get yourself out here and get yourself on dirt. You can get a 1-year membership for over 50% off, or if you just want to try things out, you can get yourself a 3-month membership for under $5. Again, that's iRacing.com/World of Outlaws, and that is valid on new memberships only. As we bring ourselves back into the action, 4 laps away from lap number 100. Nothing has changed, at least 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and absolutely try that. That is a massive value, if you don't mind me saying. And of course, I have to say the dirt racing has got to be a massive hit, I would imagine, I think, with everyone else. But for me personally, this thing has been absolutely wonderful. But I have to say, actually, this new package is quite wonderful. There's everyone running single file. You know, Luza, Bias, Humpy, Duval, Davies, and Reynolds. They're running good. And then you've got this massive swarm of cars going way high and way low. Alan Bose, he's trying way high, and Logan Clampett's trying way low, as he's almost going door to door with Ray Alfalo across the line in single file. But I know that it's not going to last. And going into the corners is 3 cars, 3 different lines. Alan Bose up to the wall. Ray Alfalo middle of the line. Logan Clampett, he's on the inside here, and they're just trying to work their way through here, and they keep that up. I can only imagine somebody's going to be knocking doors at some point, and Marcus Richardson is just reeling in, as well as Jake Sturgis. So it is being very exciting from 7th position on back, as a couple of cars are actually pulling into pit lane right now, as that's Corey Vincent and Zach Novak, as well as Nicholas Johnson, Casey Tucker, and Nick Ottinger.
Yeah, I think Novak came over the radio, said he was pitting, and then a flood of drivers came over the radio and said that they will also be down pit road. So first time tonight, green flag service is in order. You take a look at the race lead. Ryan Luza says that he will be down pit road as well. Here comes 1, here comes 2, here comes 3. Your top 3 at a racetrack down pit road. All looks like they got down in time.
Yeah, and everybody else deciding to come down as well, too, here. Duvall, Davies, the 44, Clampett, everybody coming down pit road this time here. They'll slide into their boxes. You don't want any mistakes on green flag stops. You don't want to slide through your box. Looks like the 11 did just that. Brad Davies slid through his box. That's going to cost him a little bit of time on the racetrack. The 3 of Brandon Schmidt did as well. 4 tires, though. Fuel, the 1 car of Luza's out and away. Kenny Humpy down and away, and along with the 27 of Cody Bias as well. So pit stops underway here. A couple drivers still out on the racetrack, though. Alan Bowes deciding to stay out on the racetrack. He assumes the race lead here as the leaders are down and away.
And this is where you kind of have to hold your breath, because the race leader obviously get to pit early, and that's typically when you see everybody come down pit road. As soon as Luza heard that guys were pitting, he came down the next time around. Normally, there's more of a 5 or 6 lap buffer, but when the leader pits, that's when everybody else likes to come down pit road. But you're going to have guys, no doubt, especially based on just how lucid and predictable these cars have been tonight, that are going to stay out and try to kind of beat the system here. Well, Ryan Luza, who was your race leader, is currently scored in 15th position and 1 lap down. So he is strapped 1 lap down at the moment. He should be able to catch Alan Bowes here shortly to get himself back onto the lead lap. Bowes has yet to pit and has stayed out, get some laps led, take those bonus points, and what these guys are hoping on is a caution flag to get them now on the good end of a cycle. But right now, they just kind of have to hold out hope, because that is what tires mean. So much quicker on the outside than number 1 Ford.
Yeah, and Blake Reynolds, he came in 1 lap later. That was the absolutely wrong maneuver to make, I'm afraid, as he is legions behind where Ryan Michaeluza ended up coming out when he was only a few seconds back from Ryan Michaeluza. Just 1 single lap on a new set of tires and the pit entry and pit exit, and you can't even see that purple and white 66 in the background with how many cars are between your leader and Blake Reynolds. So I have to say everyone probably should have come in with Ryan Michaeluza if they didn't. So either they are now going to have to stick with it. They're going to have to see right now. We have a caution on the racetrack here at Texas. This is going to be interesting.
With 10 drivers on the lead lap, only caution flag is out, and hearing it may be problems with Matt Bussa. We'll take a second to look at a replay. Matt Bussa no longer on track, so having an issue there with the 34. Look like it happened in quarter number 2, and big problems on the back. It started in front of him with the 22 of Brian Blackford. Now, Blackford, at the time of the accident, one of the drivers who had not come down pit road and stayed out on old tires. Guys talking about the closing rate. The 05 Nick Ottinger trying to get by him and took him out and hit him in the right rear quarter panel. I find it difficult to blame Blackford for coming up there. Ottinger just clipped him in the right rear, turned him, and that caused a big mess on the back.
Yeah, big mess, and shakes things up. We already had a shakeup with the caution to begin with, but man, a couple cars, fast cars, running a little further deeper in the field, trying to take advantage of this pit strategy here. But yeah, the closing rate was just so much right there with the 05, and Brian Blackford took the brunt of that, and then everybody else piling in behind it. So caution out. Your leaders, pit road's open. Obviously, the 21. He's going to come down pit road this time. Not sure if anybody else behind him will, but at least Alan Bowes will come down this time. It looks like everybody else going to have to take some waiver rounds here. I mean, this is definitely going to shake things up here for the end.
And I would imagine that those who did not pit, so the top 9 or so, Bowes, Woolley, Soderberg, Hill, Bias, Humpy, Vincent, Duvall, get to come down pit road. But Ryan Luza pitted, and he's coming down pit road as well. So that's exactly what these guys wanted to see. Those who stayed out, perfect strategy call, because if Luza stayed out, they would have had to drop back behind him anyways. And, you know, if this cycle ran through, they would have lost time. So for those who stayed out and hoped on a yellow, you get an A+ on a strategy call on this one. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to help you against Ryan Luza regardless, with 60 laps to go coming up here on a restart shortly, but definitely a strategy call to get themselves into the picture. And for everybody 11th on back, if you were a lap down, you can't pit or you're going to stay a lap down. So expect a lot of drivers to be looking for a wave around to get themselves back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, and Ryan Michaeluza was in the pits once again, so even though he had only gotten perhaps 1, maybe 2 laps on his tires, well, might as well throw some new tires on it. I have to say, we've seen quite a couple of times this season already, even though it is young in the season, where we have had very differing tire strategies, very different fuel runs. And this is, I have to say, probably the first incident that we've seen where a fast car on brand new tires runs over a car that is running to fuel mileage. So that is an unfortunate incident. I don't really think there's anything Blackford could have done. I mean, you wouldn't expect him to do anything. I mean, he's just sitting on the bottom line. He's doing what he can, and that was an unfortunate incident. But they're going to re-rack him, restack him. We're going to see where everything lies. And that is going to be the interesting thing right now.
And we wait to see just how many laps are going to be left by the time the lights come out on top of the race car. So we did get 2, but we did not get through a cycle of green flag service. Kind of an interesting way that one went down off in 2. But this restart's going to be, I think, just inside of 60 laps to go based on the numbers we've seen tonight. If we can get out of the first lap off of a restart, again, we've seen 2 wrecks on restart so far tonight. But if we can get green, the laps have, the runs have been about 30 some odd laps in length, so you could be looking at about 2 dashes to the end here. And you thought that things were excited earlier, you got to buckle up now, because not only are you going to have a couple of guys running up front who, here go the wave buys, by the way, 11th position through 30th, looking for wave buys. That's Novak, Sturgis, Davies, Bordeaux, Reynolds, Alfala, Conti, Richardson, Johnston, Overland just through 20th. You've got Johnson, Ottinger, Zelensky, Tucker, Barry, Lowe, Shearburn, Schmidt, Daly, and Fayash. Those were the guys on the wrong end of the strategy that did not get back to the lead lap. So they are not going to have the tires that the guys in front of them are going to have. They're going to be at a disadvantage. They want a quick yellow to come down and get fresh rubber. But now I'm curious, because you have guys up front that have been running up front. Beautiful call by Alan Bowes, who was running up front to stay out. Started this race 5th, was inside the top 5, and he's now your leader. We know Luz is good. He's 3rd. We know that the likes of Humpy and Vincent are good, but there's also a couple of other guys now up in the mix. Brian Schoenberg running in 2nd. Will Cooley, Timmy Hill inside of the top 10. Those are going to be the interesting ones to watch on this restart. This portion of tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Herculiner Truck Bedliners, the official bedliner of NASCAR. Pace car down and away. Alan Bowes, first time tonight, he gets to pull the trigger. Green flag back in the air.
Slow start by the 55 of Brian Schoenberg on the high side. It's going to open up the door now for Cody Bias to go to the inside, try to get that 3rd spot here. So some spots going to be lost here for the 55 of Brian Schoenberg. What he needs now is about a 10 or 15 lap run, another caution, keep himself some of that track position that he has just gained from the beginning of this race. Bowes, though, he's got the lead. 2 car lengths now off turn number 4. Ryan Luza trying to get the lead back once again.
At 55 is Schoenberg with damage from that incident, falling back quickly on the outside of the racetrack, already down to 7th, and expecting him to continue to drop. But the question is up front, as we see single file inside of the top 5 for one of the first times tonight, is can Bowes hang on? He was all over the back of Luza. Now Luza going to be all over the back of him as they challenge for the top spot. By the way, don't forget about Cody Bias. He's right there in the 27, relatively unaffected by that strategy in the yellow as well.
Yeah, it was pretty strange how that one worked out. I think if there was 1 lap more or 1 lap less, that would have really, really skewed a lot of your front runners. It was strange. You had guys diverging on 2 completely different strategies, and yet they ended up all having new tires and all being right back together again. So interesting, though, to see what Alan Bowes will do. He has been trying to get up front all race long. He now has the opportunity. Will he be faster in that clean air than Ryan Michaeluza? We will have to see as the laps tick on by. And for Ryan Micheluzzi, he's got to warm back up to racing through rather than just racing in front. We're going to see perhaps Corey Vincent. He's going to look to do something. And there's a massive gap, actually, a gap I wasn't expecting from 7th on back to the 8th position car of Brian Schoenberg. Schoenberg looks like he possibly has some front-end damage on that car, which might be slowing him down or cycling him back. But either way, massive gap between 7th and the rest of the field.
Well, I can tell you that Luza knows how to get through traffic. Again, earlier in this race, we were watching him battle through the pack after starting in 10th to get eventually to the race lead after about 50 or so laps in this race, but having trouble keeping up with Alan Bowes in clean air. There's a fight going on just behind these guys. Kenny Humpy gonna go +1, takes a spot away from Corey Vincent, jumps back up to P4. So despite the fact that that caution flag came out right in the middle of pit stops, there were only 9 cars on the lead lap, Andy. We're relatively where we were about 10 laps ago.
Yeah, we definitely are, except the fact that we got a new leader. Alan Bowes starting to pull away now from Ryan Luza. Not sure if it's a dirty air or what it is, but that 21 car definitely fast. He's been fast all night, up inside the top 5 for the majority of it. So the call to stay out worked in his favor, but it didn't hurt the one of Ryan Luza. Typically it does, but it stayed green long enough after he made his stop. He was able to get that lap back the hard way and race his way around Alan Bowes. Now finds himself in a battle for that 2nd spot. Just lost it to Cody Bias, but now we'll look to the inside in turn number 3.
Trying to make it stick inside of the racetrack, and it's not going to be able to hold. New P2 for number 27 of Cody Bias. Maybe he'll be able to give it to Alan Bowes. How about Kenny Humpy now to the inside of Ryan Luza? The one machine doesn't look untouchable like he did in that middle portion of this race, now falling to 4th after losing a spot that time in 2.
Yeah, and meanwhile, going on from position 8 back, that Schoenberg, Brad Davies battle, that is still kicking off. They're going side by side, even 3-wide action between Zach Novak, Ray Alfalla, and Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds, he seemed to have lost a lot of spots from staying out that one extra lap. He seems to have had the opportunity to make that back up with that caution, and now he's going to try to fight in his Ford Fusion against the Ray Alfalla championship winning number 2 car. As actually Ray Alfalla perhaps goes to the inside of Jake Sturgis going to the corner. No, he's not that bold, not yet at least, as Jake Sturgis is running the inside line with trying to get past Brad Davies. And there's actually a spin going into the front stretch. There's going to be a caution out, and collecting is Chandler Kryzak. Cars are stopping onto the front stretch there. They're going all around in every which way. That number 58 of Brian Schoenberg, what a ride, or the number 55, excuse me, of that Brian Schoenberg. What a ride for that car.
Second time tonight he's been sent. This time again with the damage, was running up front, dropped back, and the 11 machine could not get to the inside. He was fighting at that moment side by side with the 41 of Jake Sturgis and decided that given the 55, a bump would be a better option. It did not work out, to say the least.
No, and that was kind of interesting as you see that replay up on your screen. Just, I think I saw 3 cars actually going backwards through the tri-oval right there before they hit that outside wall and at the start-finish line. So kind of an interesting play of events right there to happen. But Schoenberg, heavy damage after getting all that track position. Looks like it might end his night here in this one here at Texas. So tough break. A lot of guys trying to just utilize the different lanes and what they have, but just unable to happen. A little bit of contact from that 11 machine. Looked like Schoenberg maybe got a little bit loose there coming up in the corner, maybe a little tight. Had to get off the throttle just a bit, but it was enough to allow Brad Davies to get into the back bumper, and then that was all she wrote. Everybody scattered there throughout the front straightaway.
And for all the excited racing that we've seen to this point, this may just be a sign of things to come. The age-old saying goes, cautions breed cautions, and inside of 50 laps to go, it may be hard to break away from that. Very short run, however, drivers back down pit road. Maybe, if you're going to go 2 tires, now is your time to do it. They're let down by Alan Bowes.
Yeah, and we'll see what the strategies do. Derek Bordeaux, his engine has let go. Brad Davies, his engine has let go. At least it seems that way as everyone's getting their service right now. Why not get your tires? We'll see who comes off of the pit lane first. Alan Bowes lights him up. Will he have a good exit as he's working right now through? He'll easily get the lead once again. Kenny Humpy, he will end up coming out just in second position. Cody Bias following, Dylan Duvall filing. Ryan Michaeluza, though, he is going to be dropped back just a couple of positions here now. Instead of having to fight for one position, he's now going to have to fight for 3 or 4.
You saw that bright red machine come out of the pit lane ahead of Alan Bowes. That was Timmy Hill, who did not go into the box for service. The driver running in 16th position is often known to utilize this strategy. If you do not pit at all, when the drivers come to take the one to go, pit road will be closed for you. However, if you do end up on pit road and simply drive through, pit road will be open for you at the one to go, and we fully expected that to be the strategy that number 4 Chevrolet is going to utilize. Pretty damaged in that number 16 spot. We'll probably pit at the one to go, come down, get fuel, get tires, drop to the back of the pack, and out of the chaos that is surefire to kind of ensue here off of this restart. Just an update on some housekeeping things with 47 laps to go. We still have 27 drivers on the lead lap. Brian Schoenberg, Mitchell Hunt, first drivers 1 lap down, and 28th and 29th battling for a lucky dog if we are to see another caution. And a couple of wave bys due up. Looks like Christian Challoner looking for a wave by, and as well Philip Diaz. However, race leader Timmy Hill at the moment getting some bonus points up front.
Yeah, no worries there. That's a damaged car. Might as well haul what you can out of there. The opportunity rises. Oh, why not? Alan Bowes, though, he is sitting behind in his brand new Camry. That lovely looking front clip on that. Of course, the always popular Chevrolet SS of Kenny Humpy, he will be sitting alongside for the start here. Second time now that Alan Bowes will be able to bring us to green whenabouts that happens. As here comes Timmy Hill down to the inside apron. He'll be bringing his car in pits as well as Christian Challier. We've actually got a pretty interesting, if anything, battle between all the cars that were involved in that very first incident. You've got like Philip Diaz, Christian Challier, Adam Gilland, all trying to go out whenever they can to pick up laps, and Tyler Hill as well as David Rattler. So you got cars that are 50-plus laps down that are actually trying to fight for those very bottom positions. So the lights are out, though, on the Ford Mustang pace car, and we're going to get ready to go green here for lap number 123.
And again, inside of what'll be rated about 45 laps to go when we take the green flag. Question remains now. We've seen cautions here and there, no doubt, and we've been talking about how unstable these cars have been, so I think the number of yellows we've seen has been relatively good. Great racing. Good green flag stretches tonight, got to green flag pit stops. What is in store for us, though, in this final run to the end? Because Alan Bowes was looking pretty good on that last run, but through this cycle of pit stops, Ryan Luza is down to 5th, excluding when he came down pit road. Probably the lowest in the running order he's been since the opening 40 laps of this race. Can he get around Duvall in 4th, Bias in 3rd, Humpy in 2nd, or Alan Bowes in P1? He will bring us back to the green flag, this time at quarter number 4. Green flag back in the air.
Good jump for the 21 of Alan Bowes. Another good jump for the bottom side for Cody Bias, as well as the one of Ryan Luza. They'll pull now to the inside. Side-by-side action going on about 5 rows deep now for that second spot on back. Bias will clear Humpy off of turn number... Oh, trouble for the 42. Duvall into the wall off turn number 2. They'll stack the field up. Everybody able to keep it straight and moving in the same direction here. Luza, though, takes that 3rd spot from Kenny Humpy now off turn 4.
Everybody on the outside did a good job of checking up for that one, and I think it helped that off of the restarts, everybody wanted to be low, and most people were able to get around him. Single file now inside of the top 5. That little bit of a bobble is going to move Luza up to 3rd. Humpy now in 4th, with Bias and Bowes running 1-2. I think that 27 Chevrolet...
Whoa, trouble in turn 3. The 10 car, and looks like the 10 of Corey Vincent made some contact with Dylan Duvall. And that was kind of a block move going down into turn number 3. We saw it done earlier, but a little bit of contact and heavy damage into turn number 3 into the wall.
And I think that move was by the 42 earlier as well, trying to make a move, I think, on Bias at that moment. And went to the inside, and I think he saw Clampett trying to go low on him and shut the door. And I don't know if the Ted and Corey Vincent did not appreciate it and just sent him into the turn, but The 42 chased him to the apron, and the 10 hooked him. And unfortunately for both of those cars, those are two top 10 machines that end up in the inside fence. Good news out of that is that I don't think anybody else really got caught up in that mess in corner 3, but those are two fast cars now relatively out of contention.
Yeah, two fast cars that had worked their way through the field for what it was worth, though they were they were running pretty much almost top 5, but either way, though, for Corey Vincent, I think they were so close between the two of them. The second that Dylan Duval let off on the throttle, Vincent's car was there, so they both could have made the corner very easily. The problem is, I think Dylan Duval just let up on his throttle just it must have been a hair, a tenth sooner than Corey Vincent, and with that car being so close, immediately went right into it. I believe Bobby Zelensky would have been the only one who was involved. Massive save, actually, from that 83. Looked like Formula Drift riding to the top of the Texas Motor Speedway wall, but he managed to wrangle that 83 back around. Barely any damage on his Ford Fusion, so Zelensky the only other one involved. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but you know what? It could have been a lot worse.
And with that, we stop and start once again. A couple of changes inside of the top 5. Through all of that, as noted, Bose, Bias, Luza, Humpy, Clampett. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Great run tonight by the likes of Chris Overland. Bobby Zelensky as well. He was one of the guys who has been having a fun night back in 15th, fighting 2 wide, 3 wide, but we've been watching the guys in front of him for much of the night. Well, now he's part of the party, up to 7th. And how about Nicholas Johnston? Just a call to one of the bigger movers tonight. I think he's gained the second amount most of positions tonight, gone 32nd to 8. I think the only driver who may have gained more is Byron Daly, who just a little bit further back of the AMSOIL entry has gone 40th to 13th. So plenty of big movers tonight. Out of those inside of the top 10 at the moment, though, only half of them started inside of the top 10. So it's been a good night for guys working their way through the pack.
Yeah, it definitely has, and I honestly think a lot of that has to do with the package, the way these cars are driving, the ability for these guys to be able to pass. I mean, even you look at last season, Evan, you look at the race at Auto Club 2 weeks ago, it was so hard to pass, and you've always heard it from the drivers, so hard to pass. But I just think that right now what we're seeing, hopefully it stays like this. I mean, hopefully this isn't just a fluke thing to just be in the racetrack that we're at. But I'll tell you what, I mean, if we see this, this could be some fantastic stuff out of these pro drivers we're going to see the rest of the season.
Yet plenty of races still to come. Again, after tonight, we will have the opening 4 of 16 races complete on 2017. Next time we will be with you will be in 2 Tuesdays' time on April the 25th from the Phoenix International Raceway, and 2 weeks following that on May the 9th we will be at Richmond International Raceway. So back-to-back short tracks before we open things back up and we head to the longest race on the calendar, May the 23rd, 7th race on the season from Charlotte for 200 laps at a 1.5 mile track. Not, if you look at the big picture of things, not a whole lot more than the 167 that we're seeing here tonight, and that we're going to see down the line at Chicago and Homestead and other intermediate racetracks. But it is by far and large, mileage wise, the longest race on the season. And again, for those who may not have been in the loop for these first couple of weeks, this is a completely different 2017 championship, because the goal is to get into the chase. For the first time, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series will feature a playoff to fight for a championship after the opening 12 weeks. The top 8 in the points going to have an opportunity to battle through 2 rounds of chase action, cutting it down to a 4-driver winner-take-all at Homestead to decide the championship. So a lot to look forward to, and we hope that you join us throughout the course of this entire championship season. Still not quite, though, at the point to be talking too much about the chase just yet, because the drivers from last year's NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series are looking for their first win on 2017. 3 races, Derek Bordeaux and Ryan Luza, both rookies, have occupied victory lane. Alan Bowes looking to get the job done. He's in control out of 4.
And he's looking to pick up the field. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi is off and away. The 21 is on the inside line. He's got it easy, and here comes Ryan Michaeluza. I think he's going to be aggressive off of the start here. He's going to have to be. I think he's learned perhaps he cannot catch Alan Bowes in the green flag run. People are slotting already into the inside as fast as they can. Kenny Humphrey's trying to force his way down onto Chris Overland. Overland had started in 12. Haven't really seen him up front. Now here is his opportunity. And there's Bobby Zelensky with that massive save that he had at that last caution. So we're working on lap 130 right now, and everybody seems to have had a good run. Somebody's on the infield, though.
Taking an eye as the leaders look like they're going to be able to safely navigate on through, and no caution quite yet. Problems, though, back in the pack for, I think, the number 3, and it is Brandon Schmidt is slow in a center into 1 and 2. Took the trip all the way through the grass. Great job of hanging on to that number 3 Chevrolet. Could have been a lot worse. He is going to drop all the way to the back of the drivers running at least up front and on the lead lap. The battle up front, though, continues to rage on, closing in on 30 laps to go from night for the Great American Speedway. It is Bowes, Luza, Bias, 1, 2, 3, with the 21 trying to pad some distance to Luza, right now holding a 2-car length advantage.
He's done a great job once he's taken this lead here to be able to hold these guys off, at least for the time being. He's doing just that. It's a complete 131 that time by here. Cody Bias trying to get back up there in the mix as well, too. We got Kenny Humphrey, top 5 position. He's putting the pressure right now on Logan Clampa here as they exit turn number 2. He'll look to the inside, not quite the run he's looking for just as of yet. Give it a few more laps. You'll see that 58 head right to the top side, and we'll see if he can pick some off there from the high side. Single file, though, throughout most of the field right now as they work their way off turn 4.
In the first half of this race, there was a lot more passing for the race lead than we've seen in the second half of this race. Luza has been the only driver to be able to pull away, got nearly a second plus on these guys before we saw that pit stop cycle begin and then subsequently a caution flag come out. So Alan Bowes could very well do the same thing up front. Use the clean air once the tires are no longer fresh and they move up to the outside of the racetrack, and he'd pull away. And if Luza can't get him in these first couple of laps, does he stand a chance? I don't think have any question that, you know, this battle for 3rd and 4th with Bias and Humpy and company and the rest of these guys here with Clampett and Overland and Zelensky, they're going to be able to continue the fight throughout the run. But up front, clean air, how critical is that once the tires slowly start to wear?
Yeah, I almost wonder with how many cars we've had retire and go slow if perhaps that isn't affecting the running lines as well. We saw perhaps we've gone green. We've been green now for what? It's been probably 7 or 8 laps at this point. We would normally see these guys starting to reach up towards that outer wall. I think with so many cars having been retired, it's just not in the cards now, as Marcus Richardson seems to be leading the largest pack that we have right now, as he is currently in 10th position. Josh Berry on the inside, and Nicholas Johnson. Ryan Lowe, he is working on the inside. Casey Tucker on the outside, and there's Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds, not sure when he managed to pick up this damage, but that 66 appears, at least to me, to have a little bit of front end damage on that Ford Fusion. That day, it looked like he was going to be having a wonderful day, but just not in the cards for that number 66, as they're still fighting all around him.
Yeah, there's a lot going on back here. That 66 fighting up on the outside of Byron Daly, just in front of him. Battle for position between the 90 of Nicholas Johnston and an on of Ryan Lowe. Now Marcus Richardson and Josh Berry do battle. Berry in the Peak Blue Def Chevrolet started 36, trying to get top 10 for the first time tonight, and I think he'll get it with that move into 1 and 2.
Yeah, he just might get that position right there. He'll sneak up past Marcus Richardson. Richardson not done though yet. He'll stick to the back bumper right now, side by side behind them, as well as Ryan Lowe from 41st to 13th. He's trying to creep into the top 10 before this thing's over. He's got to get around Nicholas Johnston though first, as that battle continues side by side into turn 1.
And there's a side-by-side battle here. There's a side-by-side battle there. And keeping an eye as these fights continue on. Looks like topside, better place to be for Johnston specifically, who's going to be able to hold off Ryan Lowe. And Lowe now going to have to deal with Casey Tucker, I believe, tucked up on the back bumper. Meanwhile, up front, no change. In fact, Alan Bowes is running away with this one. Now 0.4 of a second in front of Luza, who is still in second. Bias and Up is still 3-4. That's probably the closest battle inside of the top 10 as they run right now. Actually, a little bit of a fight further back. How about Michael Conti, pole sitter, fell to 17th on the opening run of this race. He's back inside of the top 10 for the first time in a while, but Marcus Richardson wants to change that and challenges him for 10.
I mean, now's the time to do it. Move it on forward. You might as well. You've only got 27 laps remaining here at Texas Motor Speedway. It looks like Alan Bowes, though, that was a good decision to stay out. A little bit of luck with that caution coming out. Ever since he's got the lead from Ryan Luza, he has managed to stay up front. Cody Bias trying to pressure Brian Micheluzas. I think they're going to start, both Bias and Humpy are going to try to start moving to the top line as they could. Cody Bias, he's trying a little bit earlier than Kenny Humpy. I think Humpy is able to reel on in, so they're going to stay down to the inside. As that battle still going on, Michael Conti slipping a little back as the big battle going on. Back for position 10 on back. Nicholas Johnson, Lowe, Conti, Johnson, and Tucker all still involved as they are pretty much the hottest action on track right now.
In contact between the 5 and the 39 that time in the quarter 4. A little bit of a shot to the back of Michael Conti, courtesy of what appears to be a pretty torn up 39 of Michael J. Johnson on the outside of the racetrack, but kind of bumped him out of the preferred lane and took it away. A nice move for the 39 to get the job. And now look at the 06 of Byron Daly. Inside to the inside. Now 3 wide. They'll go in quarter 3. This time nobody backs out of it. Everybody going to try to hold their own. And the outside in the middle, the place to be. Daly got nothing out of that beautiful move.
No, he got nothing out of it, but Casey Tucker got something out of it. He moves up past Michael Conti. Now that brings the 71 and Mitchell Hunt into the picture as well, too. So these guys aren't done battling. Look at right behind them, too. The 66, Blake Reynolds, even with that damage, got a good run off turn number 2. He puts himself in this battle as well, too. Here's Mitchell Hunt now. He'll pass Byron Daly. Now look to the inside of that 5 of Michael Conti as he runs side by side up in front of them as well, too. Ottinger looking to lose a couple spots here as they go back into 1.
And all of these guys really scrapping for any little last thing that they could get, guys. Update on the battle for the race lead. They'll lose this, cutting into it. Not going to matter. Caution flag is back out. Looks like problems down in the 1 and 2 end of the racetrack, and in the middle of the track is Byron Daly.
And it looks like he might have had a little bit of help here. This was part of that big battle that we saw going on. It looks like Jake Sturgis involved with Byron Daly. It looks like Daly just hiked it up just a little bit up the track, got together, spun around was Byron Daly, and he ended up having to park the car with a massive slew of oncoming traffic. And I think just about everybody made it around without any issues. I don't even think anyone made any contact with Byron, so that is very good there. But for Byron Daly's 06, that is a significant amount of damage, and the field grows ever smaller.
Yeah, tough break for him, and even tougher break for Jake Sturgis, who was on the outside and kind of got squeezed up in the center of the corner. Both of those cars ended up in the fence. I think Brian Schoenberg actually spun out trying to avoid those guys, but spun to the apron and did not hit the fence or anything, so that accident could be limited, despite how many close calls there were there, to just the 2 drivers involved in it initially. And that means we've got fresh tires available once again, gearing up for what may be final restart. Looking inside of 20 laps to go. Here they come. Bowes, Luza, Bias, Humpy, Clampett, 1 through 5.
Yeah, that's probably the last time you'll see these guys down, so whatever changes they got in the back pocket, you got to do them now here as they slide into their box. Luza, the first one in, Humpy right behind him, and then Alan Bowes into his stop. 4 tires should be the call for all these drivers up to the front of the field here, including guys like the 2 of Ray Alfalin. Maybe you might see some guys try a 2-tire gamble here late in the going, but Bowes looks like he's going to win the race off of pit road. Humpy's going to lose a spot, though, on this one. And Luza at least will get his chance to battle for this lead on this next restart.
And I kept holding out hope that we might see somebody go 2 tires here or there, but I think that the 4-tire call is a smart one. No changes inside of the top 5. A little bit of a swap out for P6, though. Bobby Zelensky came in 7th and beat Chris Overland out of the pit lane, so he'll be on the outside of row 3. Overland going to fall back and to be on the inside of row 4. Might not be terrible, just because the inside has appeared to be somewhat better than the outside, at least on restarts, and I think that the inside tends to get going better just because they're lined up behind the race leader. But only time will tell. A handful of drivers also staying out this time by. Many of them lap cars just waiting for pit road to open for them. Again, only race leaders can pit the first time around. The lap cars have to wait an additional time around before pit road opens for them. But drivers seeking to wait bys, looks like it's going to be the 04 machine at Eric Bordeaux, Christian Challoner, Philip Diaz, Tyler Hill, Adam Gilliland, Joe Letterello. Looks like the drivers looking to regain at least a lap, not necessarily going to get all the way back to the lead lap.
Yeah, and that is part of that odd battle that's brewing. Derek Bordeaux, he's pretty comfortable. He's only 14 laps down, but Joe Letterello is 16 laps down, so anything happens between those two, there'll be a swap for position. Christian Challier and Philip Diaz are actually racing for position of all things. They are both 62 laps down, so they are going to have a tussle for 38th position, I guess it will be. And Tyler Hill, well, he's 55 laps down. I think he's running by himself, as I think David Rattler, well, he's a little bit further behind, but he's only 54 laps down. So interesting battle, at the very least, all the way down in the field. Not something you would typically expect in a NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series race, but you know what? We'll take it when we can get it.
Yeah, and again, tonight has been great. Things have, interestingly enough, slowed down in the second half of this race to get at the beginning. So much action, almost just too much to cover all at once, and I think that this is more of a traditional final 50 laps or so. Again, got to that green flag pit stop cycle first time at 9, and I think when that yellow came out, we kind of realized at 50 to go that, you know, these races, when you get a yellow late, it's very difficult to just kind of break out and go in a green flag run to the end. And restarts going to be critical. We haven't paid all that much attention to them because most of the passing's been going on green flag runs. But Alan Bowes has had this thing on lock, Andy, for the last 2-3 restarts, and someone's going to have to figure something out if they want to get around him in time.
Yeah, they definitely are, and I think we're running out of laps to maybe get that high side to really work. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody was able to make any changes that maybe will allow them to use that high side here early, especially on this restart, maybe the first 10 or so laps. But we'll see what happens. I mean, some of the guys to watch out for, Kenny Humpy, he's been one of the guys that's not afraid to flirt with that outside lane, even up near the wall and both ends of the speedway at times too. So we'll see what it does, but we're running out of time for these guys to get the job done.
It'll be 19 laps to go for the number 21 of Alan Bowes. Pace car down and away. American Ethanol green flag, and he is off and away. Not a good restart for the Wanaloosa outside. Here comes Bias for P2.
Yes, definitely not a good start. That's not what he wanted on the outside, as Alan Bowes is just quickly pulling away. Cody Bias is there. Logan Clampett is there. If Luza isn't too careful, he might have a risk losing quite a bit here as Kenny Humpy slides to the inside. Bobby Zelensky, he's also trapped on the outside with Chris Overland on his inner panels as they're rolling through now with not that many laps to go, only 17 laps until we come to the conclusion of this 167-lap race. Alan Bowes looking comfortably up front as Ryan Michaeluza's finally able to pull inside. Logan Clampett, he's cycled back a little bit. He's side by side with Kenny Humpy.
In front of him, single file, it's the highest up battle on track, and Humpy on the outside trying to get around at a quarter number 4. Not going to be able to make it stick. 150 laps complete, 17 laps to go as Humpy gets that position. So Bowes, Bias, Luza, Humpy, Clampett, 1 through 5. Overland, Zelensky, Richardson, Johnson, and Berry inside of the top 10. At that moment, single file. Challenge going to come on deep in that running order. Here comes Josh Berry, continuing, no pun intended, to peak late in this race. Highest he's been all night now is P9 with that move.
That was a good move nonetheless right there. How about that, though, from 36th up to the 9th spot now for the 88 of Josh Berry. He's looking for more now as he starts to close the gap on Marcus Richardson just ahead of him. Some more side-by-side continues to go on behind him. The 90 of Nicholas Johnson trying to get around Ryan Lowe here as they work their way into turn number 3. That'll continue on. Nowhere to go for the 05 of Ottinger. He looks on from behind off turn 4.
Everybody trying to find just a little bit extra as the laps continue to wind down. Going to be at 10 laps to go before you know it. Do have to note, as always, there is a point of no return in these races. If we get to 5 laps to go or less, and a caution flag comes out, we will not see a restart. So, something to keep in mind if you're Cody Bias trying to set something up. You don't necessarily have 14 laps to set it up. Here he comes, though. He's separated himself substantially from Luza and Humpy in 3rd and 4th, and he'll make it a battle for the race lead. Looks low. Bose shuts the door.
That was a pretty straightforward move from Bose. He knew he had the space going into 1, so that's what he did. Drove it right down to the inside, and Bias had to back it way off. And actually, I think Bose might have skipped the outside wall on the entry to 3. No problems, though, for that 21 Toyota Camry. As here comes Cody Bias once again. He will try perhaps going into 1. Once more into the threshold. No, it will not happen this time. By looking back, though, Kenny Humpy, well, he's going to try. He's on the outside, seeing if the speed will build up. Doesn't look like it will. Perhaps, yes, it will. As actually, he'll go to the inside of Ryan Michael Luza. Luza, what has happened to his car, perhaps, as he is just slowly rolling it on back after having a very dominant first half of this race. Alan Bose, though, he's going to have to look to cover as Cody Bias.
He put him in the wall. There he goes. Luza going to spin in the grass. Caution flag is out.
Surprised, actually, we had Brandon Schmidt. He ended up doing very much the same thing. Perhaps he was much closer, Ryan Michael Luza, to the outside wall, and actually he ended up coming to a stop on the front stretch. But for that number 1 car, the night is just falling apart. Kenny Humpy, he had the speed to try to make the pass, but ended up knuckling into the left front quarter panel of Ryan Michael Luza and ended up putting him into the grass for a massive ride. So now Ryan Michael Luza heavily damaged. Not what he wanted. It does not look like he will have a three wins in 3 races. And I just have to say that is not the way he wanted to finish this race.
The only positive you can take away is, you know, for the 3rd week in a row, he's been competing for the win, but just got run out of real estate. Humpy apologized over the radio and said that he got into the marbles there and got a little bit loose and couldn't keep the car down. And we've seen many people strike that fence in corner 4 and just be able to keep on going. It was a hard lick, and Luza spun onto the inside, and that's a tough break. The Racer Boost Ford Fusion Ryan Luza came into tonight at the top of the championship standings by 5 points over Logan Clampett. Clampett set up right now, running 4th to take over the points lead on it tonight.
Yeah, it sets him up pretty nicely right there. But, you know, if anybody can come back, it's definitely Ryan Luza. Not necessarily in this race, but in a couple of weeks. So pit road's open. A couple guys thinking about it. Yeah. They definitely thought about it. You're going to see guys outside the top 10 come down and try to get tires. Maybe give themselves an opportunity to maybe steal something away here with under 10 laps. Maybe get themselves in the top 10 here before this thing's all said and done. But a smart call for all your race leaders to stay out there. Enough of them stayed out. I don't think at least the top 4 or so don't have anything to worry about, I think, as far as the guys that'll come out with the fresh tire. So be awfully interesting to see here. Under 10 laps to go. Probably our last shot here for a green flag finish for these guys as well, too. And probably the only shot for guys like Busa, or not Busa, excuse me, Cody Bias and Kenny Humpy, and even Logan Clampett may have for Alan Bose before this thing's over. He's just had, since he's taken over that lead on that green flag pit cycle there, nobody's had nothing for him. So I think just good changes on the race cars have definitely helped that 21 here at the end.
Conventional wisdom says that restarts mean more opportunities to pass these guys, but Bose has looked A1 on the restarts. They haven't been able to get to him. In fact, right before that caution happened, the 27 was closing in on him. So contrary to what we normally see, I think these guys need green flag laps to catch Alan Bose.
Yeah, and we have had nothing but cautions. It seems 9 cautions on the day. We've got 32 laps run under yellow. It'll be 33 as they cross the line. And we've still got the lights on, so it'll at the very least be 34 to 35 laps run under the yellow banner as, well, it's been a cross, hasn't it? We have had either some of the best racing that we have seen all season long, and then, unfortunately, something always seems to happen, and we have had really a smorgasbord, as it were, of incidents where we're pretty much painting every single corner you got. We've even seen cars with faster tires, brand spanking new tires, running right into the back of cars that did not have the tires. We've seen solo spins, we've seen massive pileups, so we're really covering all the bases here, and that is not exactly what you want to do, especially when we're lining up to Phoenix. I'm pretty sure we went green all race long at Phoenix last season. I think if this is a precursor to that, we're going to be in some trouble.
The good news, if any, out of that accident for Luza is that we have a chase this year, and I know that it sounds strange to say that, and this could apply for PJ Sturgis as well, who came in tonight ninth in the overall points. I feel like if we go back last year and look after 12 races with 4 races to go, there probably were not 8 drivers in the championship fight. I feel like that number was at either 4 or more likely 3 drivers in the battle. So you would think that a chase would obviously make it much more difficult to get into the chase, but actually making that cutoff after 12 races makes it just a little bit easier for those guys 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th who would not have an opportunity to fight for the title under the straight-up point system to still be in it. So it's a tough break for PJ Sturgis tonight. Coming on way in the back, it's going to be a tough result for Luza. He'll still end up probably top 20. He runs 25th at the moment. We'll see if he can get any spots out of it. But again, you have to play the game according to the rules. The rules just a little bit different this year in that championship picture, and I think that's something to keep in mind as we look to close out this 4th race on the season. 7 lap to go restart. Bo's in control. Andy, does anybody have anything for him?
I mean, the way it's looked, I don't think so, but, you know, put a handful of laps in any of these drivers with an opportunity when they can see the leader. You never know what can happen here, so it's going to be fun to watch here. Hopefully we can keep it green all the way to the end, though.
Pace car down and away this time, as we've said the last couple of times. Will this be the final restart on the night from Texas? Field going to be chasing that number 21 entry of Alan Bowes. Pace car off and away again. Green flag flies as they come over the start-finish line. The 21 pulls the gap. Bias going to slide top to bottom. He takes over 2nd. Humpy clamp it head-to-head for 3rd.
A 2 Mississippi stutter stop before Alan Bowes let the hammer drop, and Cody Bias, well, I don't think he was too surprised to see that. The entire field sort of lurched and then had to hold it on back. Actually, pretty happy to see no further incidents with that, but it's actually sort of crumped everybody together, and it's allowing them to get some single file running, at least your front 3 cars, as everyone else is still too wide, as we are really in the last gasp of this race. 5 laps to go.
Point of no return coming up this time around, which means that a caution at any moment could end this race, and they are going at it back in the pack, side by side. Back at about 13th position, 2 rows deep. The lengths of the 05 and the 35, the 71, the 77, the 5, all fighting back in the pack. Eyes are up front. Inside of the top 10, we've got a challenge. Ryan Lowe coming up the inside of Marcus Richardson, that one for 7th.
That's a great battle as they go 3 wide behind him for the positions. Almost go 3 wide right there with Josh Berry looking to make some more ground up before this thing's over. Just ahead of him, here goes Overland in the 47. He goes to the inside of Clampett as Clampett continues to fall here in the late stages. The battle for the lead, though, top 3 still nose to tail as all this action inside the top 10 continues back into 1.
Yeah, plenty of battling now. You got 3 sets of side-by-side action amongst the top 13 cars on track, but can't help to try to keep our eyes up front to see if anything's going to happen in the dying moments. 3 laps to go this next time around, and Bias is knocking on the door. It's a car length in the battle for the race lead.
Trouble. Somebody going into the air in the front stretch. That's going to end the race here.
Marcus
lightning
Richardson.
Quick. Quite a couple of cars involved in that one, as that was an absolute pile up there. I think I might have seen Ryan Luza also involved. Quite a couple of cars. Not what you want to see to end this race.
That was 4 wide on the exit of corner number 4. The 2 and 3 wide was fun enough. I appreciate the effort, but 4 wide, a little bit much, and it easy to say did not work out. 77 tried to squeak it in topside on the Owen of Marcus Richardson. I thought it was a 10 machine because when I saw him, he was upside down and it looked like a 10. But Richardson goes for quite the ride on the front straightaway, and everybody trying to find their way through. Not sure the 42 of Dylan Duval could locate the gas pedal on that one, and took it about 3 drivers trying to find a way through, plowing that 77 over to go, and just a complete mess on the front straightaway. Gonna wrap this one up for that 21.
Yeah, I love, listen, it's late in the race. You got to get those positions. Mitchell Hunt's trying to get everything he can. All those guys trying to get everything they can. You see an opening, you got to go for it, and they did just that. 4 wide. You knew it wasn't going to end very pretty for somebody, and for that somebody, it was Marcus Richardson in that 01 machine. High into the air on that one. Get some good style points for that one right there, but unfortunate for him. He was having a great race up in the top 10 for the majority of the second half of this. So unfortunate turn of circumstances, but hey, that's racing. Anything can happen at any time.
White flag in the air. We're going to finish this race at pace speed of 65 miles an hour. Alan Bowes just has to go around uninterrupted and without incident to close things out. We were talking a little bit earlier about those new 2017 rules packages on these cars, which was a part of the excellent racing that we saw earlier on tonight. We were also talking about those new 2018 Toyota Camrys. Beautiful example right there with that number 21 running up front, looking to close this thing out as we will pace through the final half a mile.
Yeah, and that's exactly that incident, not what you wanted to see. They barely almost made the 4 wide work. There was also a second incident in the background, which very could have possibly thrown the caution out between Brandon Schmidt and Michael J. Johnson. They're working their way through, though. Alan Bowes, I have to say, this is a hard-fought one. We have to wonder what could have Cody Bias had. And Kenny Humpy, maybe perhaps he could have had that outside line come into its own in the final couple of laps, but we won't see, unfortunately. But either way, though, Alan Bowes, very good race for him as he'll come home with a checker.
He is going to bring that LSR-TV Toyota Camry at a quarter number 4 at a slow to pace, but it'll taste just as sweet. Checkered flag and the win from Texas to Alan Bowes. A spectacular run late into the ninth, and he was able to hold it off on one more late race restart, coming home on top of the likes of Bias, Humpy, Zelensky, and Overland. Some names up there that we talked about all night long not getting the results that they wanted to see at the end of it, and we'll break all that down at the end of the night. But Alan Bowes, well-deserved victory tonight. He had the best car, I think, when it mattered the most.
Yeah, he absolutely did. I thought he was out of fuel there for a second there. It looked like he needed a push there from somebody to get back around. But no, Alan Bowes, hopefully there's enough fuel left in that thing to do a burnout. That was an absolutely phenomenal race. And honestly, once he took that lead, even guys like Ryan Lucid, they just had nothing for him.
21 going to bring it at a quarter 4. He has some celebrating to do on the front straightaway back in NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series victory lane, burning it down on the front. The number 21 Toyota, Alan Bowes, your winner tonight. And as always, we will chat with him in victory lane in just a moment. First, let's take this opportunity to look at tonight's RaceSpotTV full race results for round number 4. Alan Bowes, your winner tonight, to Cody Bias in second, Kenny Humpy third, Bobby Zelensky fourth, and Chris Overland 5th. We will talk with all of them post-race in just a few. Logan Clampett ends up with a decent result tonight, P6 for his team after starting from second. And biggest mover, Ryan Lowe, 41st to 7th to get a top 10 result on this one. Josh Berry was able to get that peak entry into the top 10, comes home 8th tonight just behind Tim. Mitchell Hunt in 9th, and opposed to Michael Conti, it able to get back to salvage a 10th place result.
Yeah, Blake Reynolds will end up coming home in the 11th position. Nicholas Johnston will come home in 12th. And Nick Ottinger, he'll come home 13th after starting 3rd. Brandon Schmidt, well, he started in 14th. That's where he finishes. In 14th, Chris Shearburn, he'll finish 15th. Casey Tucker going from 31st to 16th. Will Cooley will finish home 17th. Ray Alfala, oh, day what could have been. He seemed to be running good all day long, just wasn't able to pull it through in the final couple of those laps. He'll come home 18th. Ryan Michaeluza, oh, what could have been. He finished 19th. Timmy Hill will come Tom home in 20th, rounding out your top 20.
21st finisher here tonight will be the 39 of Michael Johnson. Zach Novak will finish 22nd. Last car on the lead lap in the 23rd spot will be the 55 of Brian Schoenberg. 2 laps down will be the 10 of Corey Vincent. Andrew Fayash will finish 25th. 26th goes to Marcus Richardson. 27th to Dylan Duvall. Derek Bordeaux will salvage a 28th spot here tonight. 29th goes to Jake Sturgis, and Joe Letterello will finish 30th.
Everybody else in the same category, laps down and behind the wall, 31st through 35th. Byron Daly, Chandler Krizik, Brad Davies, David Rattler, and Tyler Hill wrapping out the top 40. Brian Blackford, Philip Diaz, Christian Cheliter, Matt Busa, and Adam Gilliland. And all the way at the back, Jimmy Mullis, 41st. PJ Sturgis, 42nd. And Nolan Scott in 43rd. It's a look top to bottom at your RaceSpotTV full race results. We will take this opportunity to step aside for a brief moment. When we come back, Alan Bowes is in Texas Motor Speedway Victory Lane, and we'll chat with him.
There are 3 different paths if you want to call yourself a world champion of sim racing. NASCAR, open wheels, or endurance racing. But no matter which one you take, you can guarantee that the journey will always be tough, which few will ever complete. The iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, the premier road racing series in sim racing, started with a new car taking center stage. Then, it was Martin Kroenke resisting any challenge thrown at him to break the 5-year stranglehold of Gregor Hutu as being world champion. These drivers and teams are not just competing for pride, they're competing for money. And with over $20,000 in prizes for each of the series up for grabs, drivers really do put it all on the line.
The NASCAR Beginner for Series, powered by iRacing, is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time Oval World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign.
The Blancpain GT Series hosts the top GT3 endurance teams in sim racing, with groups of 3 or more drivers sharing the wheel. This is a championship you can't win alone, and you need the same determination, passion and drive from your teammates to be successful. They often say that it takes just one mistake to lose a championship, and in team racing, it may not be your mistake that costs you the win. Last season, VRS Coanda SimSport won the championship by a single point. This year, who will step up to the plate?
These are the iRacing eSport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. Catch it all season long with live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Welcome back live to the Texas Motor Speedway for the RaceSpotTV post-race show following our fourth round of action on the 2017 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. We head to Victory Lane where Alan Bose awaits us, the driver of the number 21 Toyota. Gets the job done and parks it at Victory Lane, and we go trackside with him now. Alan, congratulations on the win. I know a couple of late race restarts there. Bias, Humpy, and company all over you. That 21 Toyota was able to hang on.
Yeah, that was insane. Those late race restarts are always a handful, especially with guys that are a little bit faster in the short run. I'm not really sure how I was able to do it, but I don't think I've ever driven a car so hard in my life.
It looked a lot of fun out there, especially earlier on in this race. The battling inside of the top 10 was insane. I think on the first stint we had 6 exchanges of the race lead, and the cars looked good on the inside and the outside. Just how racy were those cars out there? Because at least in that first half of the race, it looked like you guys could really put it anywhere, and the battles were nonstop.
Yeah, it was actually pretty insane how quickly the track widened out. I know there were a couple guys that were starting to make up time, so a lot of people moved up, and it seemed like every lane that you went higher, the speed was just even better.
To get the job done here late in this one, obviously pit stops involved in it at the end, and typical convention, I said, is that typical wisdom would be, Bias and Humpy and Zelensky and all the guys behind you would want cautions to get a restart and be able to get back up to you. You guys actually look like, though, that you had those restarts unlocked, and it was appearing like maybe 5-6 laps after the run. That's when they would close that 0.4 of a second gap up to you, and then a caution flag would come out. So typically, cautions you would think would help those guys, but it actually looked like that you guys were enjoying those restarts.
Yeah, we were able to get out to some pretty good jumps there at the beginning, and by that time we could just kind of cruise around, save our stuff a little bit, and once they caught us, we could pick it up just a little bit more and more every time that they started to gain on us.
You guys had to have an idea that the car was good all night long. 4th in the warm-up session, qualified 5th, and much better than those opening 3 races of the season where you guys have an average finish of 27th position. The objective is, after 12 races, to be in the top 8. I know tonight, a big step in the right direction. What was different this week about those opening 3 races compared to those?
I think the big thing was qualifying. As you stated, I qualified 5th, and I know at Vegas and Auto Club I didn't qualify inside the top 20. So I think tonight was really definitive. If you get a good qualifying run, we're definitely fast enough that we can stay in the top 5. So, yeah.
Well, hey, a completely different kind of track going forward. The next 2 weeks going to be on the short tracks, obviously a very different discipline. Phoenix in 2 weeks' times, Richmond 2 weeks thereafter. How do you guys think it's going to be on the short tracks?
I think we're typically pretty good at short tracks. I know Phoenix is one of my favorite shorter tracks, and then on top of that, Richmond, we've always been decently fast at Richmond, so I'm not too concerned about those 2 tracks. I'm really looking forward to getting some good runs going here, because from where I'm sitting in points, I definitely need every point that I can get.
We'll let you take off, Alan. Before we do, as always, the sponsors and the shout-outs who makes it happen tonight, parking you into Victory Lane.
First off, I got to thank everybody at Dead Zone. They put in an amazing amount of work. I also got to thank the guys at SimWorks, Ryan Luzu, Dustin Linger, Derek Bordeaux. They put in a ton of work this week. LSR TV, they hopped on board this year. It's a pleasure to have them on the car. And RAR Chevette and Drakentech, every year that I've been in the Peak Series, they've been on the car, so I got to thank them for their support as well.
I know that they and you as well looking forward to many more weeks. Like tonight was Alan. Congratulations on the win, and hopefully we'll chat with you soon.
Thanks, Evan.
Alan Bose is your winner tonight for the Texas Motor Speedway. Cody Bias comes home second, trackside with the driver of the 27 is Cam Walsh.
Yes, and that is, of course, the number 27, Cody Bias, at CBias27 on Twitter. And Cody, well, it's the first time we've run the new package here in the Peak Antifreeze series, and it looks like it was a lot of effort. It was really fun for us in the commentary booth. How was it down trackside inside that number 27?
And it was fun. It was fun for most of the night, but that's what makes it worthwhile when you have cars like we had tonight. And like I said, just a big testament to everybody on the team for what they do each and every week, especially with like a new build being released like it was last week or whatever. And being able to unload the way we did and show some serious speed tonight. I know it's a lot we can work off of and keep trying to go and in the right direction and see where we can get. I know we had a really good long run car tonight, and those little short runs at the end really didn't work in our favor, but we definitely didn't give up in the 27 Simcraft Chevy tonight. So head off to Phoenix in 2 weeks and see what we can get.
And both you and Kenny Humpy having a very good day indeed. But let's talk about those cautions. We had 9 of them, well, 10 of them actually, for some 36, 37 laps of this 167 lap race. It really sort of broke it up. At the beginning of the race with so many cars, people were really working the outside line very well. As the race progressed and so many restarts, it really just turned into too wide on the straights. And in the corners, it really, at least up front, didn't seem to work out so much. All those cautions, it just sort of seemed to have hurt the track a little bit. But overall, it was just you trying to chase down Alan Bowes.
Yeah, for sure. My car didn't work really well up top. I know you probably saw Kenny and Dylan were making the top work. I just wasn't comfortable up there. So that's why probably towards the end of the run is where I was my strongest, because that's when the bottom came back in. And yeah, I found myself trying to chase down Ryan and Bose for most of the night. And I felt there with the 12 to go or whenever it was before that second to last yellow that we were in a pretty good spot when it was just me and Bose. But he did a great job. He didn't make any mistakes, and he earned that one tonight for sure.
We're going to Phoenix next. I'm pretty sure last season we went green the whole way through. If we have something like that, going to be the exact opposite of the race that we've had here at Texas. You're getting ready for it?
Oh yeah, for sure. It also helps that we have a few guys on the team that are really good on tracks like that. Like Kenny himself is typically pretty good there, and knowing with all his knowledge and feedback we can get from him will definitely help us down the road for there in Richmond. So I'm kind of looking forward to one of my weaker tracks on the circuit. So hopefully we can get in there and get another top 5.
And anybody you would like to give a very quick shout out to before we cut you loose from the RaceSpotTV booth?
Yeah, again, I just want to thank everybody on the team again. This is a good start to with the new build and everything, and also like to thank Simcraft for coming on board. I know we got them quite a bit of TV time tonight with the 3 of us running up inside the top 5 in 1 point, so that was cool for them. Also, thanks to Justin Bolden and Ryan Hunt again for being the eyes for me and my eyes and ears for me. So without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I just want to thank all those guys for all their help.
Cody Bias, the number 27 Chevrolet SS, coming home in second position. Good day for him. And we are now going to go and talk to his teammate Kenny Humpy, the number 58 Chevrolet SS, and he is going to be with Andy Kessler.
Yeah, down here on pit road with the driver, the number 58 Chevy. It's Kenny Humpy. And Kenny, what I saw all night was passing. I saw different line strategies being used. How much of this new build came into effect for what the racing we saw tonight, and how much fun did it look? At least from our angle, it looked like fun. I'm not sure about the driver's seat.
Oh, it was definitely fun out there. Early in the race, we were all moving around. I never thought it'd widen out as much as it did. I mean, we were all the way to the wall in 1 and 2 and all the way to wall in 3 and 4, and that's just something that we hadn't seen. I don't know if iRacing kind of tweaked the track a little bit to make it able to do that, or if the new build kind of spread us out that much, but whatever it was a ton of fun. It was a lot different than I think what everybody was expecting going into the race as far as, which lines would be good and where to race.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say over the last season, so especially these mile and a halves, you would tend to see everybody would be basically the same speed. You'd be on the bottom lane. If you gave that up, you were going backwards. But then to come in here tonight and see how some guys were able to keep their positions on the bottom. Other guys were able to take some on the top. I mean, as a driver, seeing a change like that, how I guess awesome does this make the rest of these mile and a halves on the schedule for this season at least appear what they could be here coming forward?
Oh, basing off of this race, I can't wait, until we can get to some of those other tracks and see how the groove widens. Even at Phoenix, I think you'll see the groove widen out there quite a bit just based on what we saw tonight, and that's exciting because you can move around, try to find different lines, and try to find the speed, and it makes it a lot easier for us to pass. You know, if we're all hugging the bottom or, you know, either running against the wall, either way, but, you know, it makes it really hard to pass. But this way, you know, you can catch somebody on the bottom and get a run on them, and you may be stuck on the bottom in 3 and 4, but if your car's a little better and you can hug that white line, I mean, you're still able to make the pass. So definitely makes the racing, I don't know if it makes it better to watch, but it makes it a lot of fun whenever you're racing with guys like that, and everybody who understands where to go with their cars and giving you enough room to make the passes. It definitely changed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely thought to watch. I'm sure we'll get the feedback later on from everybody that watched and tuned in at home. But obviously, a couple weeks you guys had to get prepared for this with the new build. Now you got another week off before we head to Phoenix. Still, obviously, with the new build, still a lot of testing for you guys left to get, to get these things figured out. I mean, it might even take the whole rest of the season, really, and each track's going to be different and trying to figure all that out. But obviously, having that extra week helped you guys out tremendously. But you got to be pretty happy. It's back-to-back top fives for you here as we move forward into the middle part of this schedule.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, when a new build comes out, everybody's searching for that speed and trying to find every edge we can get. And to come in here and get this top five definitely means we got a good good start, you know, to get the ball rolling. And all the guys on the team, man, Cody Bias and Justin Bolton, they worked their tails off, you know, coming into this race. And it showed tonight. I think we had a pretty good car. I know Cody was a little bit better than me and Dylan, and Dylan unfortunately got involved in a crash there late. But we were all up there in the top five battling for the win, and that's all you can ask for. And, you know, things didn't fall our way there at the end. But, no, everybody on the team did such a great job, and we were able to bring a Simcraft home in second and third. And that's good, but you know, going to Phoenix, like you said, we got a lot of work to do with this build. We had a long time to mess with the physics and everything that were on that last build, probably over a year with the same type of setups we were running, and everything was, you know, easy to kind of pick up, and we knew what we were getting into. But, you know, going to Phoenix is a totally different type of racetrack, and we'll just have to see how the cards lie. And I'm sure Cody and Bolton will be coming out with a good setup for next week.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, Kenny, and obviously we'll be tuning in a couple weeks to keep an eye on that, and wish you the best of luck with that at Phoenix. But we'll give you this opportunity, sponsor shout-outs. Obviously, you mentioned a bunch of the guys, but definitely a full team effort to get you guys up, running up at the front like we did.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, Cody and Justin Bolton do a heck of a job every week, and Chad Lawton spotting for me this week. He did a heck of a job trying to tell me which lines were fast and where to be at the track. And Simcraft and DIY Sim, Matt, and all those guys who do everything. I'm still getting used to these pedals. I got the new Triton pedals, and they're amazing, but taking a while to get used to. But I think I'm finally trying to get a groove with them. So, you know, hopefully we can continue these 2 top fives in a row. Maybe we can start competing for a win at Phoenix, but we'll see what happens. And thank you guys for broadcasting and iRacing, everybody who puts this series on peak. Everybody that's involved, it's an awesome deal, and proud to be able to get 2 top fives.
Well, there you have it. Hopefully you'll make it 3, maybe even a trip to Victory Lane next week at Phoenix. It's Kenny Humpy, driver of number 58 Chevy, puts it into a 3rd place finish here tonight, and I'll send it further down pit road now, as Evan Pasoko is caught up with now our 4th place finisher, Bobby Zielinski.
And Bobby Zielinski, of course, the 83 car, sort of a wild night in that 83. You sort of worked your way right through the field, started 13th. I think everyone we've been saying is say they've had a great time at least running these cars. Your story might be a little different, Bobby. You had to really wrangle and roll that car around, and once or twice you even got a good little slap, which sent you in a tail spin. But either way, you managed to wrangle that back, and you managed to wrangle a fourth out of this, and that's a good day.
It's a really good day. I'd say a key word to our day was survival, because we survived all kinds of incidents, and we got put back to around 25th from a caution in the middle of pit stops and everything. It was a crazy day. I'm super happy about this finish. We ran around 15th to 12th around all day. Didn't have a lot of speed. The car was fairly balanced. We just couldn't find speed in it. It was a lot of fun to run like the high line and stuff. I think that helped us more. But yeah, that's another thing. I'm glad the dynamic track multi-groove racing is still here with the new build. That gets me in a good mood, and it was just a really fun race though.
Yeah, and pretty scary moment. I think one of the cars lost it. I can't think of who it is off the top of my head. Maybe Bordeaux. I can't remember. But they ended up nipping you, and you had to do a massive slide to really keep the car out of the wall. Just try to take me through wrangling the 83 Ford Fusion back into at least a straight enough line to where it didn't really hit anything. A lot of guys were loose basically all day long, an effect of this package, but you managed to at least seem, on this occasion at least, to really wrangle it back and keep it under control.
Yeah, that was really intense there. I saw Duval block Corey down to the bottom there, so I went high just because just in case they wrecked, and then they did. And I thought I'd cleared myself enough, but I didn't. I got clipped, and I just reacted like I normally would. And it's probably one of the smoothest saves I've ever made. I didn't have to really wheel it. I had to wheel it, but I didn't have to really be aggressive with it. And I saved it, and I was just worried if we had damage or not. We only had like 4 seconds in the pits, and it didn't really hurt us, so I was really fortunate to get away from that. But yeah, any situation like that where, I mean, it's a close call and you got to save it, you just got to go on instinct and hope it works.
We're going to Phoenix in 2 weeks' time. Of course, you're one of the 2016 pro drivers coming up into the Peak Antifreeze series. Phoenix, always an interesting run and an interesting race. You getting excited for it?
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'm curious how we'll do on speed. I'm not sure if we can really use our stuff we learned from last year at Phoenix in the Pro Series. We had really good car. We'll see how that goes, but I like Phoenix. It's an interesting track. It's different, and so I really like it, and it's just a lot of fun. And we'll for sure see multi-grooves there because we saw it in the Pro Series at night, so it's going to be even more crazy in the day. That should be a really good race, and hopefully we queue up front there, have a good car, and try to get another top 5, maybe a win. Who knows?
Yeah, and of course, no dog legs, so that is going to be even more entertaining. But anybody you would like to give a quick shout-out to before we cut you loose?
Yeah, for sure. Thank my sponsors. Support me so much. United Western Industries, New Age Metal Finishing, Virtual Racing School, and Elwood Designs for painting me this car. So he did a great job. And just shout-out to Ryan Keese for doing my spotting. He does a really good job of spotting. I've never really had a spotter before, and he does a damn good job and really helps me get out of these situations, get through the situations. Shout out to Dante Bauer for crew chiefing, and thanks everyone at Slip Angle for putting in the work. Last couple weeks we found a good amount of speed, and we didn't have as much speed as we wanted, but it's alright. Still got a good finish. Chris and I in 4th and 5th, so yeah. Thanks everyone there. Ray, Chris, Lisa, Black, Kyle, Delonte, everybody. Just a really fun team to be a part of, really good friends, and hopefully we just continue this throughout the season.
Now, good teams typically have good moments typically have good finishes. So Bobby Zelensky started in 13th, finished in 4th. We'll see you at Phoenix. Thanks for popping in.
Thank you.
And now we are going to go and interview Chris Overland, the 47 car. Didn't spend much of the day up front, but right at the end of the race, ended up coming with it, and I believe he is going to be speaking with Andy Kessler.
Yeah, I am down here on pit road with the driver, the number 47. It's Chris Overland. Chris, Right behind your teammate, your Slip Angle Motorsports teammate there, Bobby Zielinski, getting a top 5 here tonight at Texas. We talked about it with a bunch of these guys. The new build, we saw different grooves out there, kind of something we haven't seen really over the last year or so. Talk about that and how that's, maybe worked in your favor, or maybe something more, I guess, to go to the drawing board as we move on to these mile and a halves.
Well, we've had the multi-groove racing for quite a while now. I was pretty ready for that. It's just about being ready to set it up, and that was going to be tough. We found something early in the testing session, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and everybody else was a squeaky wheel. So eventually, everybody found out what was going on, and we were on the level playing field there, and we had to play catch up towards the end of the testing week. We found something. It's just about setting up for when the car gets tight or the track gets hot or you have to start moving around. That's something we need to work on, but definitely happy. Made a lot of adjustments during the race that seemed to help, and towards the end there I felt like I had top 5 speed, and I'm glad I ended up getting there.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a lot of fun, at least from our vantage point. Talk about it for you guys. It seemed like the first 10 laps of a run, the bottom was the place to be. Like you said, though, the track heats up, you got to start moving. And we saw guys even up by the wall. I mean, going forward, that's even going to a place like Phoenix in a couple of weeks. That's got to be pretty nice knowing that there could be multiple lanes like that at, like, say, a Phoenix. That could help you, or maybe give you a better drive off the corner to give you that little extra speed maybe that you missed.
Well, to be honest, it's a little frustrating. It makes it a little bit more difficult to pass cars that you feel like you'd be faster than, because they can get the run off the high side, and they can come up in front of you off the corner and just put you in dangerous situations. But it puts on a good show for the fans, and I'm really glad that we're able to do that, considering that this series has grown quite a bit, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. Still searching for that first win. I wanted to take you at the end there, but we got to think big picture, and now being in the chase position in 8th, I guess I'm glad I did that instead.
Yeah, big picture, definitely this season, obviously with how that's all going to shape out in a few weeks here towards the end of the season. Big picture, now you're looking to a short track, the first one of the season here. We obviously a lot tighter course of racing, a lot, the cars are going to be around each other more. Things happen in a hurry at a place like Phoenix. How important, obviously, qualifying is important each and every place, but how much emphasis this week going to be put on getting a good qual setup?
I hate to keep disagreeing with you, but I went 42nd to 2nd last year at Phoenix, so I ain't worried too much about qualifying every week. I'm just trying to get the car figured out, especially with a new build. The first person to hit on it, the first team to hit on it is good for a good 5-6 weeks, and I feel like Phoenix is one of my better tracks. So all we're going to work on is trying to figure out what makes the car go fast. And if you got a fast race setup, you can start 30th. It doesn't matter. We've seen people do it. Plenty of people came from the back to the front tonight. It's all about staying out of trouble and having a good car and being able to put yourself in the position. And I feel like I'm pretty confident in my ability to do that next week and Richmond.
It's going to be a lot of fun over the next few races anyway. But Chris, obviously a top 5 here at Texas, a good way with the new build to move on here towards the middle portion of this first part of the season. So with that said, sponsor shout outs, obviously a good night for your team overall.
Well, I want to thank Lisa Pineda and just take a moment to thank my dad. He's a very supportive guy, but he was actually watching the Daytona race instead of this one, and he came into my room and congratulated me on 8th and congratulated Derek on the win, but that's definitely not the correct race. So shout out to my dad, Double Clutch, Menards, everybody on Slip Angle Motorsports. They worked really hard. Bobby did a great job. Ray did a great job. Brian got home 5 minutes before the race, and he had a good car. It sucks that he got taken out. Eddie Walczyk for still supporting me for the past 4 or 5 years, and just I guess you guys are always great. You always make the show a little bit better than it normally is. You always add the excitement. So big thanks to you guys, and also Peak and iRacing for putting it together. I had fun.
Sounds good, Chris. Well, hopefully continue the good runs in 2 weeks at Phoenix, and we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
So there you have it, 5th place finish for Chris Overland in number 47. And I'll tell you what, Evan, I don't know. I enjoyed this racing. I know we've had multiple grooves because of the track, the dynamic track that we've had over the past half a year or so. But I don't know. There's just something I think with this downforce package that made it that much better.
Well, the end of the race wasn't that different as far as what we normally see. There's very quick, short runs, but I don't think anybody can deny that the first half of that race was awesome. I mean, these guys going at it. And I mean, even at the end, we wrecked because we tried to go 4 wide. It's not typically a readily option available at Texas, Cam. So I'd argue that these cars have a little bit more pep in their step, if you would. And they were definitely given the ability, I think, and it might have to do with that new build. We don't really know again, but I think that this race was great. We saw fantastic action early, and even though we saw those yellows in the second half of the race, really the final 50 laps, but I think it was still an exciting night. And I don't think that we could really at any point in this race tell you who was going to win. Some races it's pretty clear amongst 2 or 3 names, but up front we saw Bose dominate. We also saw Luza dominate, but there was at any given moment 5-6 names in that hat.
Yeah, absolutely, and we did end up seeing those 10 cautions. That was too bad, but the time that we had in the green flag running, that was pure excitement, I have to say. Many crossovers, a lot of splitting, some 3-wide action that was fairly routine at one point. The packs that were running together, they were fighting for positions, but they were still catching guys who were running solo in front of them. I think Texas put on a great show despite those 10 cautions, and if we didn't have so many cars fall out, I would wonder perhaps that outside line would have had even more to it with all those cars, all that extra tires putting down the heat, putting down the rubber, and moving that line around. I would have only imagined how the race would have played out then, but you know what? That's the race, and we're going to go on to Phoenix and see what these guys can do, minus that dog leg. I would not be too surprised if we don't see somebody clang doors at some point doing that merging, but we'll see how it goes in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, can't wait to get to that one. Phoenix going to be fun. Richmond also, not only do we get 1 short track, Andy, we get 2 in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, short track racing's fun. I mean, it really puts these guys to the test. I mean, Chris said you can come from the back to the front, but you got to get through all the mess in between. So it's definitely a lot more strain. There's not as much room, obviously, as these 1.5 miles. So I love the short track stuff, and I think Richmond, Phoenix, those are 2 of the probably better, I think, short tracks to bring these Cup cars to. So it should be a lot of fun. I think you'll see some good passing, I think, as well too. And again, these guys got a lot of work to do with this new build and the new way to set these cars up. It's definitely going to change things a little bit, and they can't really go off of what they did tonight at Texas. They got to start all over again starting tomorrow.
And with all of that being said, round number 4 and the Texas Motor Speedway falls into our rearview mirror. As always, we want to thank all of you for watching this special presentation of RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive, Facebook Live, Fans Choice TV, and the Motor Racing Network. For more information on the iRacing World Championship Series, you can visit wcs.iracing.com. On behalf of everybody who makes these broadcasts possible behind the scenes, for Ismael Ballo on the cameras, Simon Grossman, Kevin Pavey and their team for the broadcast CG, Andy Warner on the graphics, for, of course, Will Vincent, Hugo Louise, the entire team at RaceSpotTV, and, of course, for us topside. For Cam Walsh, Andy Kessler, and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you so much for joining us and congratulate your race winner, the number 21 of Allen Bose, for getting the job done tonight. We will see you in 2 weeks' time on April the 25th from Avondale, Arizona, and the Phoenix International Raceway for the 5th round of the 2017 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing. Until then, good night.